Hello, welcome to Superpower Broadcasting. Welcome to episode 30 of Ghoul Gang Rising, the weekly show where Reece and I dunk on the worst foreign policy takes of the week. And we've got a lot of doozies lined up tonight. Let's flippin' go. How's it going, Spooky?
We got the whole posse, man.
We got the whole posse.
It's back to basics. People might have seen that we were going to have Neil on, but something came up for him, so we'll schedule him soon enough in the coming weeks. We have other guests coming up as well. You know, people who are interested in news regarding the show. We will have Prometheus here next week, and in a few weeks, we will have the great troll in chief, Stephen Michael Davis. So we're all about that networking around here. And when Kevin said doozies, we really have some bad videos today. I was sitting on a lot of these all week. I have this forbidden knowledge burning a hole in my brain, and no, they just need to be roasted. I can't possibly live in a world where these videos don't get roasted, man. It's not right.
Absolutely. So here's the thing. You might be asking yourself, well, come on, can we get some base content? We're going to have base content where we're roasting them. That's going to be base. But, you know, fair warning, we're going to be subjected to some absolute cringe tonight that we're going to have to watch in order to dunk on. If you want pure based, you can check out my video that I premiered about half an hour ago on Dan Crenshaw's speech at the Young Americas Foundation. But check that one out after this stream, because you're not going to want to miss out on this, because you're going to be flabbergasted by some of the stupid takes that you're about to see from the brainlet brigades, upon whom we are about to dunk. Before we get into it, I'd like to just take a moment, give a shout out to based Bill Crystal. Bill Crystal followed me on Twitter today. That is based. Yeah. So he follows both of us now. So that's pretty awesome.
I'd like to think that behind the scenes, he's a fan. He has to be a fan.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Like, we got memes and stuff on him. I mean, he might be watching right now over on Periscope. Who knows? So if he is, thanks for the follow, Bill. Stay base, keep on rocking in the free world, and never change. So.
Oh, absolutely. Never. He's awesome. And he is one of the most appreciated voices in our field. If we're even going to possibly include ourselves, but I'd like to think that we are the intellectual descendants of work that he started a long time before either of us was involved.
Oh, absolutely. Like, he wrote The War for Iraq when I was like playing with Legos and stuff. So
playing with my bioticles. Well, okay. on that note, on a bit of a serious note, before we get into the cringe, which, yes, the content, you know, the videos we roast, they are cringe. I would like to think, though, that them being so cringe is what elevates us into extra base territory, especially by comparison. I mean, you put on a Kyle video and then you put on us. It's hard not to look amazing in comparison. I will say this, though. So this is the big 3-0. You know, this is kind of a milestone. And we're, you know, on the way to even more milestones. Episode 50, we've already had discussions behind the scenes of what that's possibly going to look like. So rest assured, there's, you know, you've only seen the beginning of this show and what this show can be. And I expect the show to get better with each progressive episode. I was wondering if you had anything you wanted to say about our journey so far. Any highlights, anything that particularly stood out for you? Because I look back on the last 30, you know, streams of this particular show, not to mention all the other times that we've streamed together, and I think I'm very proud of what we've accomplished over here. I think we have a very unique show. I can't think of another show like ours out there. And we're filling that niche, and it's a damn good time every week, or sometimes 2 times a week.
Oh, for sure. No, absolutely. This is the thing. When we started Ghoul Gang Rising, we weren't sure exactly how we were going to do it. We weren't sure how many people there were going to be, that kind of thing. But, you know, in talks, because we kind of had this idea floating around that we were going to do a weekly podcast for months beforehand. But then when we actually got it rolling, it was very clear it was going to be myself and Reece. I was like, yeah, there's no other show like this. It was very clear right from the get-go that this was going to be the series that was going to last, that we were going to do, 1,000 streams, Ghoul Gang Rising, that type of thing. We're already 3% the way there. There's a lot of cringe. We'll still have a lot of cringe to debunk. But, I mean, a lot of the highlight clips and everything. And yeah, I'm going to get around to having more highlight clips from some of the older episodes I got to catch up on. Some people found the channel from that. A lot of people have been enraged by our content. A lot of total losers have been enraged. Aaron Mate fans, Jimmy Dore fans, Kremlin Kalkulinski fans. I mean, at this point, we're going to be some of the few people that are still talking about Kyle because he's fading into irrelevance over the debacle. But we're always going to be there to dunk on his cringy foreign policy. And I did want to say about that. I've always known, when I started this channel, I'm like, look, this is going to be a 50-year project. I'm done. Like, I'm totally done. I was just out of university, spent 6 years having to deal with all kinds of anti-war propaganda from people that are supposed to be intelligent, the most educated people in our society. Total cringe, absolute disaster. To see this be so common, these brainlet talking points, 20 years, all these kinds of memes, be just the mainstream, that I was like, I gotta start this channel and I don't care what happens. I knew right then, I'm like, one day I'm gonna get doxxed, but whatever. I wasn't sure it was gonna be this quickly. That was surprising to me, but I had prepared myself a little bit for that, and I knew that I would have the haters and traitors on my ass, and that's what happened. But here's the thing, right? If I didn't do the channel, and if we didn't do Ghoul Gang Rising, understand something. The nature of the media, the nature of the culture is such that there would be somebody else to eventually try to fill that void. And I don't think that they would be able to do anywhere near as damn good a job as you and me at that. But there eventually would be somebody else who'd be like, wait, why isn't anybody talking about Afghanistan from the base standpoint, right? Because at this point right now, I think we're coming to a point in the era of cringe where people are actually starting to wake up. I mean, I talked about this in the premiere that I did earlier tonight on Dan Crenshaw's speech of the Young Americas Foundation. Pretty conservative place, right? You'd expect them to be mostly, oh yeah, it's been too long, end the wars, Trump ended the wars, that kind of stuff. But what did Dan Crenshaw say? He said, us having those troops over there, understand something. You might say, well, is it worth the cost? Has it been too long? There's not been another 9/11 since. That's kind of a fair deal, kind of a good deal to avoid another significant tragedy like 9/11. And you know what the audience did? They just cheered for that. I'm looking at that and I'm like, oh man, there are other people out there that definitely see where we're coming from. And eventually some of those guys in the audience would have started their own channel, I think, because there was just that demand out there. Like the reason why people watch this, the reason why people tune in is because nobody else really talks about this stuff. You could imagine that if there were like 10,000 channels that were all kind of coming at this from the same perspective, a bunch of different hot gang channels and stuff, we probably wouldn't necessarily get as many views or whatever. But a lot of people out there, they kind of just, they never really had the impetus to do it because, well, if you're the only voice, you can take a lot of hate. It can actually be really difficult. So the first 2 years of this channel have been pretty crazy. It's been a total grind. And the first 6 months or so, Ghoul Gang Rising, 7 months of Ghoul Gang Rising, they've been pretty base. But we're just getting started. And the thing is, we got, like Reece alluded to, we're going to have an epic episode for episode 50. Episode 35, September 11th, is going to feature Stephen Michael Davis. So you're definitely going to want to tune into that for the 20th anniversary of the Taliban and Al-Qaeda's attacks on the United States. I guarantee you we're going to have ridiculous cringe that day. I mean, you think the cringe that comes around August 6th and August 9th is bad. September 11th is far, far worse than the brainlet.
The coup de grace of cringe.
Absolutely. And this is the second decade anniversary of that tragedy that unfolded. And by the way, and I've said this before, that was the day that I became a hawk when I was 7 years old. That was the day. And I've never not been a hawk since. So that'll also be the 20th anniversary of me being a war hawk. So, and I think a lot of people got hawk pilled by that. But to see the surrender unfold, to see the Taliban regain power, to see the next 9/11 basically be guaranteed to occur within the next decade now, people are waking up and realizing, oh shit, this is not good for our civilization. This is actually very bad. And I think for us, the fact that we've started our content, you were talking about hawks, you were talking about foreign policy and stuff before I was ever even on YouTube. We're going to stand out as people that have been on this shit for a long time, and we're going to be vindicated. We have already been vindicated. We already said, you pull out of Afghanistan, the Taliban's going to regain power. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that we're vindicated on are not things that we take pleasure in. They're not particularly dubs, because we're trying to warn everybody not to go down that route. But we know how this movie ends, and it's our job to let everybody know, if you surrender, you can't just pretend that the terrorists don't exist and hope that they forget that you exist. They're out for blood, and ignoring them will not make them go away. And if you don't kill them over there, they will come and kill you over here. And that's really the pill. Now, sure, other people such as Bill Kristol and John Bolton and others have been on this for a lot longer than we've even been alive. But as far as YouTube channels, live streams go, as far as Twitch content, as far as Periscope, you don't really see any other big hawkish voices. So this is the home of the Hawks. So thank you to everybody for tuning in all this time. And it's going to be an epic next 48 years, because we're just going to be proven right again and again and again. And hopefully we're going to actually start taking back our civilization. And I look forward to covering the campaign to liberate North Korea and Iran down the road. And I look forward to dabbing on all those who opposed it all these years once victory is achieved. So you got any thoughts as well, Reece?
We obviously appreciate the work of, older people like Bill Kristol, like John Bolton, but there is something to be said about each generation needing its voice, and different people from different backgrounds are going to appeal to a different audience. And, Bill Kristol has a YouTube channel, and that's all well and good for him. His content is a lot more professional than ours for the most part. Our content can tend to be memey. It can tend to be crass. We swear a lot. We're
let's flip and go. Let's flip and go.
Let's flip and go, man.
We're dropping flipping slurs left and right, man.
That's how it goes, and I really wouldn't have it any other way, because I wanna expose the truth. I want to reveal, but I think, given the morbidity, if that's even a word, the morbid nature and the severity of what we cover, we need a little levity. We need to crack a joke every now and then, because truly, I do think that if we didn't, it would be a depressing state of things.
Well,
because
that's the thing.
all we talk about is enslavement and tyranny and failures on the part of Western nations to involve themselves. We need to crack a joke every now and then.
For sure. And I watch Bill Kristol's show, and he'll often make, some lighthearted jokes and stuff with some of his guests and everything, but they don't really have long-running memes and everything. And a lot of it is a lot more academic. When we do our stuff, I understand we talk about really dark subject matter. And so the only reason that people would even tune in is if we have to, have the memes, have the concern alerts, have the bootlicker alerts, have the clown alerts, have a way of making this stuff mimetic. And there's people like Timothy Spin who did this artwork, the depiction of KGB Crystal and Kremlin Kyle. We got the nicknames, right? We got Chad Cheney's over there. Oh man, how awesome would it be if Liz Cheney followed us? That'd be pretty base. We got what else was there? We got Kremlin Kyle. Arthur made this one. We got, of course, memes that I made, like Democracy or Death or No You. And of course, who can forget the plastic? You're done, son. Or ouch.
You're done, son.
Ouch. Ouch.
Bro.
We got the Decider. We got Shoe on Head tonight.
Oh.
We got Tanky Tulsi. Yeah. Anyway.
If only she produced more content.
Yeah, we could dunk on her. Then we could dunk on her. Anyway, we're coming up on the 20-minute mark. Let's flip and go. What's the first doozy to dunk on, dude?
Very fittingly, I did watch your premiere on Dan Crenshaw, and I'd seen that video on Twitter anyway, and commented on it. So I think that we'll go with something that is related to that. I got quite the video for you. This is actually one of my favorite segments of our show, of the CERN variety,
yeah,
which
we're talking about
also is unique.
Yeah, we're talking about physics today. We're talking about the Large Hadron Collider, CERN, over in Switzerland, right?
And everyone knows that physics isn't easy.
Physics is okay. I love how it's been over a year since those memes started in the run-up to the Liz debate. I still don't even know what that means.
I think it's related to global warming, but I don't really know either.
I thought it was related to the nuke pill. I thought it was about nukes, but you thought it was about global warming. I don't know. Maybe I should ask Liz that.
You do have that talking point where you talk about, look, man, the atoms don't care if they're poor.
That's right.
Maybe that's what it means. Yeah, physics isn't easy, man.
Well, yeah, they just do what they do. They don't give a shit. They're honey badgers.
They don't care which country they're representing. They do their thing, man.
Does an atom ask what flag is on the bomb casing when it goes to split? No. It doesn't give a shit. They're honey badgers. So, we got a CERN alert.
Here's the title. The title of the video, before you do that, is Taliban's actions won't help them gain legitimacy, White House says.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to have to issue that alert.
Afghanistan, the Taliban has made big gains this week. They're surrounding a number of cities. They've taken control of a provincial capital. They assassinated government officials. Has all of that caused any reflection, second thoughts on the part of the White House when it comes to the Afghanistan policy, or any changes in the strategy there?
Well, first, let me strongly condemn.
Oh my God, that's a lot of data, a lot of info to go over right there.
That's finally, like, legit, and I mean this not sarcastically at all. Finally, somebody asking the real questions.
Oh yeah.
Has this complete disaster caused you to rethink your strategy? I would hope so.
I would hope so. I would hope so. I remember Dan Crenshaw said on the speech to the Young America's Foundation, he said, look, I hope we got a plan in place if that happens, if the Taliban goes to attack America again. No, understand something. And I know he knows, but he's trying to like keep the audience at least somewhat away from the doomer pill. He knows there's no plan. If there was a plan, why are they surrendering? Was that part of the plan? Oh, this is how we'll really get a ton of troops in Afghanistan. We'll pull out and then we'll send them back in when people aren't paying attention. Was that the plan? That's not the plan. Biden's got no plan.
Ironically, though, that sounds like something one of the non-interventionists would say.
Yeah.
Like they'd say it was like some 5D chess. They would totally say something like that. You're going to tell me Jimmy Dore probably believes that's what's happening right now.
That's true. They're probably like, no. Biden surrendering to the Taliban is just a pretext for him to send in troops.
Honestly, based on some of the other videos we have on the playlist, there is a grain of truth in people actually believing that to be the case. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Let's rewind it a second. Let's hear what Jen Psaki has to say. Her apologetics.
Stand policy or any changes in the strategy there.
Well, first, let me strongly condemn, on behalf of the government, of course, the assassination of Dawa Khan Manipal, the director of the Afghan Governmental Information Media Center. His murder follows the bombing attack in Kabul earlier this week that targeted the acting Afghan defense minister. The Taliban has claimed responsibility for this later attack, and there's no reason to doubt reports they're responsible. Additionally, there are credible reports, as you've touched on, of atrocities and retaliation against civilians in other Taliban-controlled areas, which, of course, we are closely tracking and concerned about. If the Taliban are
She's CERN, bro. She's CERN. We're uber CERN,
literally
dude.
a concern reference.
We are many CERNed, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure. Again,
He's
this is
concerned,
why.
bro. Watch out, dude. Watch the flip out. Jen Psaki is concerned, so you know something's gonna happen, right?
Oh yeah, because every time they're concerned, they don't just offer empty platitudes; they follow it with meaningful action, right? That's
For sure,
why
they'd have to. I mean, he's the commander in chief. That's his job, right?
That's why Biden's doing another surge, right?
Yeah. That's why he's sending 100,000 troops there right now. But no, apparently.
Here's a shirt for you: Surge over CERN.
Yes. Yes. Oh man. Yeah. Concern isn't an action, by the way. It's not a solution. You don't fix anything by being CERNed.
Thoughts
Being
and prayers,
CERNed
bro.
can lead you to take action, but if you don't actually take action, it's like prayer. It's not a solution.
our view is that if the Taliban
Oh, come on. Okay.
But it made her feel good to say that. She felt like a good person.
Oh yeah, she felt like a good person. She felt awesome.
about. If the Taliban, our view is that if the Taliban claim to want international legitimacy, these actions are not going to get them the legitimacy they seek. They do not have to stay on this trajectory. They could choose to devote the same energy to the peace process as they are to their military campaign.
They never were serious about a peace process. That's a meme. Ever since the beginning, ever since anything happened, they were violating the deal. We know that. They were violating it under Trump and Pompeo, and now they're violating it under Joe Biden. So,
do you want to know the biggest meme of all? Is the idea that through actions such as that, through actions such as bombing Kabul, through actions such as assassinations of political opposition, they're not going to gain legitimacy. Oh yeah, that's why the UK doesn't want to trade with them, right?
oh
That's
yeah.
why the US under two different fucking administrations didn't want to do a peace deal and negotiations with them, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. And by the way, the term is flipping. That's
Oh,
the
sorry.
term. The term is flipping.
I've got a potty mouth. I need to watch it.
Yeah, otherwise we won't get invited to CPAC.
Yeah.
Funny enough, Nick Fuentes said flipping and he got kicked out of CPAC. So
Maybe that's why he really got kicked out. Maybe he was supposed to drop some real F-bombs.
Yeah, maybe they thought he was weak.
That's, I mean, ironically, it is pretty weak sauce. But
oh yeah,
flipping, we obviously go back to the tried and true YouTube lore and Jake Paul,
that's right.
as I've recently discovered. So really, I can't give Nick Fuentes all the credit for that one.
That's true. Because let's keep it real. We're in our flipping zone right now. It's like McDonald's up in here, man. It's our flipping zone. We got them burgers. Just flipping burgers. It's like A&W. Flipping burgers.
Strongly urge them to.
I can't get over the idea, though, that if you're a terrorist organization and you do terrorism, that you somehow that's going to prohibit you from getting international legitimacy. Here's where that's a flawed way of thinking. If they gain control, which is entirely possible because they're well on their way to doing that, and they've held power before in the nation, they were the ruling party. They were, in that sense, they were much more than just a mere terrorist organization. And then you see a line blurred between the two, and it's like, well, it's basically like the Muslim Brotherhood. You put on suits, and hey, look, it's a bunch of professionals, and we can do negotiations with them. It's totally cool, right? Oh no, they're killing people. Okay, or they're at the very least, incentivizing the killing of infidels, promoting Sharia law. It's such a joke to me that. I mean, we see clear examples, and you did cover that in one of your videos about what the UK is doing. Because the UK, they're doomer pill. They realize it's over. They won, and if we want any kind of trade in the nation, these are the guys who we have to work with. They already fucking have international legitimacy. What are you talking about? You know what else gives them international legitimacy? if you hand them a giant symbolic dub and you say, we're done, you win. We're done fighting you. After barely even trying for 10 years.
Yeah.
To do so. This is what the Afghan people so urgently need, deserve, after decades of war, and is very much in Afghanistan's neighbors' interest to invest.
I like how she said, well, after decades of war. I mean, technically you can say that and the war be ongoing, but there's almost this idea that the war is over. It's not over. The Taliban's waging war across the country right now. So.
But the only country that matters is the United States. Once the United States pulls out, the war ends, right?
Oh, I guess it's over because Joe Biden said it was over. So
he's never lied.
Energy into a peace process that promotes a peaceful Afghanistan and stable region.
Lame pilled, lame alert, unbelievable. Okay.
Sad. You know, what makes it especially sad is sometimes she actually will have good answers, but it entirely depends on the issue. She really is just a mouthpiece for the administration. This is easily the administration's worst issue by far. And so anytime she talks about it, horrendous. Absolutely horrendous. Oh boy. Okay, we got another one that got a lot of requests, and we've been meaning to talk about all week. This is a clip from Twitter. This is Tucker Carlson returning to the show after a good while banished from our sites, but he's back, and he's been in Hungary. For the past couple days. He sat down with Viktor Orban, did a really cushy interview with a despotic leader who has, drastically eroded freedoms of the press and of opposition in his own nation, and just treated him like any other run-of-the-mill conservative. And, that's not what we're watching. We may watch bits of that interview next week, but we did have a clip of him just talking about Hungary and making apologetics for it. So here we flip and go.
Yeah.
Well, that was the Tucker video. Hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah, so, I mean, you saw the part there where he was basically shilling for Viktor Orban. He looked like a complete clown, I gotta say. I mean, it's embarrassing. At least it was a quick video. But no, a lot of people wanted us to react to that. And I think that, honestly, Fox News should just fire this guy. I mean, you're not in the business. You're not Cirque du Soleil. You're not Cirque du Soleil. You're a news channel. Why is he there?
I appreciate
Why do you have a circus clown on your payroll?
I appreciate theatricality as much as the next man, but sometimes some people really do take it too far. And Karl Marxson is one of them. So,
oh no, I know. I mean, it's like, look, it's one thing to be a metaphorical clown, but then you wear that and go to Hungary. He is a clown. Let's just be real about it. He's an absolute clown. That was him there praising the Hungarian dictator. It says 5 million viewers right there. What an absolute clown ball.
I'm hearing that we didn't actually play the right file. Oh wait. Uh-oh.
No, what you mean? They had a clown in it. That was Tucker. What do you mean? That was the Tucker.
I understand the confusion, but I think we might be evading our obligations here a bit.
Wait, that wasn't the right video?
I'm afraid it wasn't.
God damn it. Okay, what's the title of the video then?
It was on
I played Clown Alert. I thought that was what we were going to react to, Tucker Carlson. But
it was on Twitter.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
People who instituted those policies.
Wait, no, that's the same video. Oh. No, dude, I can't find it. That's like, it's all just Clown Alert. What?
This is an awesome bit. We need to do this more often.
Okay, I'm gonna try to actually seriously.
Yeah, for reals this time.
Okay, I found it. Wait, that was the same video. You said it's by Fox News.
Yeah,
but that was by Fox News. So okay.
We're trying.
Well, I don't know where it is. I guess we're gonna have to move on to the next video. I can't find it because I thought that was the Tucker video. I mean, it's literally Tucker Carlson. So I guess there was supposed to be another one. I guess I forgot to download it. Okay, you try sending it to me again on Twitter. Like, just quickly, can you try sending it to me again?
Yeah, man. I'll do my best.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I'm just opening up the DMs right now.
That is not a DM you want to get.
Okay, I got it. Thanks for sending me the link. I'm just going to download it quickly.
Bro.
Okay, here we go. Here we
flip and go.
Here we flip and go. Here we go. This is actually Tucker Carlson in Hungary. It's the same video. So it's a different source. It's a different channel this time you sent it from. But it's the same video.
Man. I don't know.
You just see him right there liking Viktor Orban's boots. I don't get it. It's short. Like, what was the runtime supposed to be? Like, I thought it was 4 seconds.
I think the one we're aiming for is about 30 seconds, but it might have been my bad. I might have sent through a bum link once more.
That one was from a different channel. Also, like one of their affiliates, Tucker Carlson in Hungary. It's like, what was it, like Fox News 9 or whatever? Okay. So I don't know. Anyway, I think Tucker Carlson looks ridiculous. I think he looks like a clown. So
you're not wrong. You
should try to get a job at Cirque du Soleil. Leave Fox. I mean, imagine your most viewed show is a circus clown. Well, at that point, are you even really a news station?
Hey, man, the kids love it.
I guess the kids are into clownery, right? I mean, personally, I find clowns kind of creepy. Find them kind of overrated. I think a lot of people are creeped out by clowns.
Oh, so, absolutely.
Yeah. Nellie's saying she saw the clown one again. Well, no, but that was what Fox News 9 uploaded. So it literally was titled, when I downloaded it, Tucker Carlson defends Viktor Orban as a true conservative.
Tucker Carlson clowns around in Hungary.
No. Well, okay, that was the other one. I'm talking about the one from like their affiliate network. They said Tucker Carlson defends Viktor Orban as a true conservative. That was the video. That's what I got. That's the one that you sent me. So,
oh man,
we'll try going back on the other one.
Yeah, you got another one in there.
We'll take a look.
Hungary and its government have been ruthlessly attacked.
I mean, it looks like the same video to me, but it's got a longer runtime. So.
Yeah, I think this is the right one. I'm pretty sure.
But it's the same video. It's just a longer version of it. Okay.
It's the remix.
Okay. We'll start it over. What a clown ball.
And the people who instituted those policies, Hungary and its government have been ruthlessly attacked and unfairly attacked. It's authoritarian. They're fascists.
Yeah, that's what's unfair.
There are many lies being told right now. That may be the greatest of all. The last Hungarian revolution was less contested than our last revolution, and probably more transparent.
The last revolution.
Dude. You had to be kidding me.
We're not talking about the revolution.
Oh my god.
People call them a soft fascist nation.
Yeah.
Because of events that have transpired more recently.
Absolutely.
Why are we talking about the revolution? It was less, and so he, of course, because it's Tucker, he makes sure to throw in it was less contested than our revolution.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's usually a sign. Here's the thing. Yeah, maybe things will be less contested when you go from authoritarianism to authoritarianism to authoritarianism. Basically, just a succession of authoritarian regimes. The American Revolution, yeah, that was contested. You know why? Because there actually had to be a war in order to secure people's freedoms. They couldn't just rely on things just sliding into place.
Amazing.
You know, that's not the mark of a revolution being morally right or not.
Yeah.
If it was contested or not.
Unbelievable.
Depends on what you're doing a revolution against, does it not, Tucker?
That's true. It's not an endorsement of anybody, but that's true.
Oh yeah,
So
no,
ignore the
not an
lawyers,
endorsement.
the liars rather, and
not an endorsement. It's not an endorsement of anyone. You're in Hungary doing a cushy interview with Viktor Orban, but it's not an endorsement of anybody. Who the fuck believes that?
Oh no, he's not endorsing him. He's just over there in Budapest licking the boots. So okay.
He didn't ask him one tough question. He didn't ask him anything. He didn't ask him about the erosion of opposition representation. He didn't ask him about the fact that he and his allies control 90% of the media. Nothing like that. Didn't ask him shit. He asked him more questions about fucking Germany. Who the fuck cares? You're in Hungary to talk about Hungary.
Amazing.
But he's not endorsing anybody. But he always does this, where he throws America under the bus, and that's you know, in a lot of these segments, and some of them we're not even going to bother with because I don't even think that they're all that related to foreign policy. They're more related to domestic issues that we don't usually cover here.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of the coverage is his line on it is, oh, Hungary is a serious nation. Hungary takes protecting its people seriously, unlike Western Europe, unlike America. Oh, but I'm not endorsing anybody, and I'm certainly not throwing my own country under the bus. The country in which he is successful, the country in which he is a millionaire. Oh yeah, but no, he's not endorsing anybody. He told you. I mean, he's a news guy. Would he lie to you? He's not endorsing anyone, and he's certainly not throwing America under the bus because he's a patriot. He's a proud patriot, despite the fact that he does segments all the time bemoaning how much more masculine China is than us, bemoaning that the neocons are trying to get us into another war and doing apologetics for the Syrian regime. And this entire tour is basically just a fit of jealousy over the control the conservatives have over Hungarian culture.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then go to fucking Hungary, man.
Well, he's in Hungary. He's in Budapest right now.
Well, stay there then. And it's no better. It's no better to me. There was a recent tweet from Liberty Hangout. I know everybody's cringing.
I can't. Like, even people like conspiracy bullshit reacting to their tweets on Twitter, I can't even read it because immediately I just think of the diaper incident. I can't, dude.
Diapergate.
That's right. Unbelievable.
It was like a reaction. There was some story where there was a couple. It was two men who had adopted a surrogate child, and Liberty Hangout's reaction was, man, Saudi Arabia doesn't seem so bad. Well, then fucking go there, man.
Go there. Get the hell out.
Yep. Get lost. You're not welcome.
Yeah, either like it or get out.
It's true. It's not an endorsement of anybody, but that's true. So ignore the lawyers, the liars rather, and the lawyers.
The lawyers. I hate lawyers. I hate them.
I hate them.
He sounds like Haas. You know what it is?
I didn't even think of that.
It's Infra Tucker. You know how Haas is back on Twitter at Infra Haas? It's Infra Tucker right there. They'd probably be buddies. So, because Tucker Carlson said, like, there's that video from Kirk Wilcox. He has that clip of it where Tucker says, well, he's talking to, I think, Al Sharpton or whatever, and says, well, if that's what democratic socialism is, then I'm all on board. And it was like screwing over like the rich or something like that. And then in Kirk Wilcox, he like has the Soviet anthem playing, and Tucker's wearing one of those Ushanka hats and everything. Yeah, that one. Yeah,
that video is epic. That video
is so amazing. Epic. I mean, because every time I see Tucker, I think Tucker Karl Marx in now. Like, Kirk Wilcox is a genius. So Yeah.
Speaking of people who are on the short list to get on the show,
we gotta get him on Ghoul Gang Rising, man. We gotta get Kirk Wilcox.
We'll make an attempt to find a Tucker Carl Markson clip for that.
We have to, and we're gonna have Stephen Michael Davis on too, and those guys know each other. Stephen Michael Davis reacts to a lot of Young Turks cringe, a lot of Jimmy cringe. We'll have to play a Young Turks video and a Jimmy video that day, because he's the one who opened up the floodgates on this, and the whole reason why the radical left is eating itself right now. It's so based. Like, I interviewed Stephen Michael.
It's still
Davis.
happening.
It's cool.
The effects of it will go on for years.
They're going to go for years. And it was cool. They interviewed Stephen Michael Davis too. I was just asking him, like, who you think's going to win, all that kind of stuff and everything. And he was kind of saying how, like, it kind of would be in a way kind of like three separate sort of camps, but he was like, and now he doesn't have really a dog in that race, right? Like, he's not a progressive.
He's a libertarian.
He's
He's just in the corner rubbing his hands, laughing at these people flinging shit at each other.
That was the best money ever spent on a membership anywhere, to get inside access to Young Turks as they just drop some absolute bombshells on air, or off air rather. So.
Oh yeah, no, that's when they say the real spicy stuff.
That's
when they think
say the spicy stuff.
They think everyone watching is a super fan, but there was one guy watching who was a bit of a shit stirrer. I like the idea of having Stephen Michael Davis on. He's like, hey guys, this is gonna be cool. We're gonna have a chill stream, and we're like, chill stream. I got some doozies for you, friend.
Oh, man.
You thought you were escaping. Here's a Young Turks video.
Well, there we go. So let's finish up the clown alert.
And judge for yourself. Is it working in Hungary or not? We think that it is. And
that's because you're a clown, Tucker. It's because you're a clown, Tucker. Like,
it's working out so well that they're turning to Russia for assistance. There you go. Because they have such a, and we talked about this in our stream, I believe last night, on fascism, where they have such a misplaced sense of national identity. They look the migrants and they're like, oh, you got to keep them out. Now that's the real problem, where we're all about preserving our national identity. But then they look at a nation run by a former KGB agent. Keep in mind that Hungary was oppressed by the Soviet Union. They were invaded, and they were very much under that block. And they're like, yeah, no, well, let's do deals with you. We're going to be friends, right? Totally oblivious. What a joke of a nation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, these people forget history so fast of what the Russians actually did to Hungary for decades. I mean, when they sent the tanks in the 1950s and just tortured people left and right, executed people en masse, and but what? That's better than the migrants? Let's be buddies with the oppressors. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like that, because think about it. You got a conservative state in Poland. They would never do that shit. They remember history. They would never cozy up to the Kremlin. But Hungary under Orban's managed to make people forget history. So Poland represents potentially a better side of what jingoism and national fervor can bring about. But when it comes to a lot of these other nations, when it comes to Belarus, when it comes to Hungary, all their rhetoric to me is such bullshit. When they're appealing to the national identity, when they're appealing to their Christian values, no. This is a collection of thugs who want to stay in power. And what are they going to closely align with the West? No, because the West is going to pressure them into reforming. It would be much better to align yourself with other thugs. And that's what we see happening in real time. Same thing with Turkey. Despite the fact that they've had contentions with Russia, what do you think is going to work out best for them in the long run? At least from the perspective of the thick dude
Erdogan? Is it going to be allying yourself with NATO? Is it going to be potentially palling around with the European Union? No, it's going to be allying yourself with Putin in the long run. And that's where that country is headed as well. Oh, but we can't criticize Hungary and fucking Turkey because they're allies. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit, man. Allies would share the values of NATO. They would share the values of the United Kingdom and the United States. They are not allies. They are about as feckless. They are sleeper agents. They are fifth column nations.
That's right. No, that's right. Absolutely. I think I'm done talking about the clown for one episode. Let's move on to the next video.
Oh boy. We have a lot of goodies. I had one that I discovered earlier in the week, and I'm like, okay, this is different. This is Nike's CEO talking about their important relationship with China.
Yeah, I've talked about Nike. I've talked about Nike a fair bit. Not really a fan of Nike, but we're going to have to issue an alert before we get into this. Come on.
I'm actually a little disgusted with myself. I looked down and I saw I was wearing Nike socks. What the fuck, me? What the fuck? Right?
They might as well just say CCP instead of that Nike. Like instead of the Nike swoosh or whatever, it should just be the hammer and sickle. So
I need to burn these socks ASAP.
Yeah.
We participate in sport all over the world, including China. China's a very important market for us.
My markets, man. My buyers, man. What's next? The Taliban is a very important market for us. There are 30 million people that they control, and we want to sell shoes. We could make money there. I mean, think about this. Think about this. Imagine it is 1938, and this guy's saying, Germany's a very important market for us, and Japan's a very important market for us, and we can make money there, and also we can make money there, and we can also make a lot of profit there, and we can make money there. By the way, this come on, this is mask off. If this guy wanted to have good optics, what he would say is that come out there and say, no, well, us doing business over there creates jobs, and our influence can pressure China to liberalize over time. That used to be the line that the neoliberal establishment would say. That, well, no. They'll come around to us if we do business with them. But this guy's just like, no. I want the fucking money. Or I can't say that. I want the flipping money. So,
they don't have to say things like that anymore, because if you talk about the Cold War that is currently going on, one of them, by the way, if you talk about that, you get called a McCarthyist, which is very strange, because people mostly said that in reference to the Soviet Union, but whatever.
I mean, it's both communism, but here's the pill, right? McCarthyism at the time, it had its role. Now, did McCarthy get a lot of innocent people? For sure, but we know for a fact that there were communist infiltrators in American society. I mean, all the KGB records have long been exposed. So after the Soviet Union collapsed, it was very clear. They still find Russian sleeper cells today that have been operating in the United States. So there definitely are enemies from within. But when it comes to China, I don't think China's as effective as the KGB ever was.
No.
But they do have their Confucian schools, and those should definitely be shut down. So
we have a long-term history in China. Phil Knight, our
okay, so those are two terrible arguments right off the bat.
To tradition. That's like saying, well, we've always worked with the Nazis. So what are we supposed to do? Not work with them? We work with them.
The arguments thus far are China is a very important sweatshop to us. And also, money. Well, we've been doing this for a while, man. I mean, are we really gonna switch tracks? Like, no, this is what we do.
My money and my tradition. My
cheap labor and my economically enabling of a state that is doing a genocide currently.
Yeah,
flip can't talk about that.
Flip Nike, flip free trade with China, flip all of these people.
I say swoosh Nike.
Yes.
Give them the swoosh.
in China 40 years ago, beginning to build what's now an incredible consumer connection that Chinese consumers have with Nike, with Jordan, with Converse. And so we continue to invest in China. We have over 7,000 monobrand stores in China through our Chinese partners.
It's an amazing connection. Can you imagine
we
that?
have such an
saying that
amazing
about
connection with Germany, man. We have 7,000 factories there. We have a great relationship with the Schutzstaffel. We have a great relationship with Heinrich Himmler. We have a great relationship with these guys. They buy our shoes, dude. This is the same argument. This guy, you know for a fact, if Nike was around in the 1920s and 30s, they'd have their CEO go out and talk about how, well, no, Germany's a really important market segment for us. Let's not do a Cold War with them, bro. Fuck
It's
this guy.
unbelievable.
Imagine going on television. By the way, if I had the kind of money that this guy has, and they told me, they're like, go on television and defend your relationship with China, I'd be like, well, no, then I'm going to be on TV forever defending China. So I would just retire with my money. This guy, like, what, does this guy need more money? Probably not. But he's thinking,
apparently,
like,
man.
Apparently he's thinking, well, no, I need to get a new yacht. My current one is boring now. So
I mean, we've said the same thing about John Cena. Does John Cena need more money? Probably not. But yet there he is, castrating himself in public for China time and time again.
I can't imagine, like, I don't have very much money. I have a negative net worth, and I can't imagine doing this. If I had $30 million and they told me you got to apologize to the CCP, I'd be like, fuck you. I'd rather never do another film again than have to do that. I mean, in public. But you don't. Like, I don't think these guys get it. I don't think these guys get it. When the history books reflect on the war with China or the Cold War with China, depending on how soon we get rid of them, whether it's going to be a real war or not, they're going to remember these people the same way that we remember the America Firsters. So his face is going to be associated with, you know, in the social studies textbooks, American business people that tried to delay justice for the people of China and the Uyghurs. Like, look at this guy. I want you to remember this guy's face. He's a collaborator. That's what he is. He's a collaborator with the Communist Party. And that's not hyperbole. You don't get to operate there without having a good connection with the Communist Party. And definitely not at that level. So he's a collaborator.
I like the wording too, because it's not something you would ever hear about American consumers, as far as I'm aware. Like, we have this amazing connection with the consumers. You sell socks. You're acting like this is something like you're touching people's souls. You sell, well, hey, souls, double meaning there. You are touching souls, just not those kind of souls. You sell socks.
Yes. Oh man. He's like, no, we have a connection with them. We have such a connection. It's like, no, people go to Amazon and order your stuff and it arrives. That's
because connection. I also have an amazing spiritual connection with Amazon. When they bring the Amazon box to my door, I look the delivery person deep in the eyes and I say, thank you. My day has been enhanced greatly because of your presence.
And at that moment, that delivery man shares an entangled connection with Jeff Bezos, and Jeff Bezos' heart is warmed in that moment, wherever he is, swagging it up in his mansion on his yacht.
Jeff Bezos' heart grows one size for each Amazon box delivered. True facts.
True facts.
We're the #1 sports brand on Tmall, have been for the last decade, still are today. And so we take a very long-term view in China. We're continuing to invest in China, and we'll continue to invest in China.
So way to admit it. Like, he doesn't even try to. Look, your optics are bad, dude. Here's what you need to say. Here's what you need to say if you're going to try to sell this. You need to say that us having a presence there is a moderating influence, and that doing business with China is good because it allows democracies to have more pressure on them. Now, we know that that's not true. We know that that never worked. We know that that was a dumb talking point in the early 1990s. It was obvious that wasn't going to work. But that's what you need to at least say if you're going to try to win anybody over, because I got news, whether you're on the left or you're on the right, most people are fucking sick of communist China. I mean, think about it. Even Tucker's audience, for the most part, if you ask them, they might say, oh, well, China's more manly. But if you ask them if they liked it, they'd probably say, well, no, and I don't want to live there. And they'd probably say, well, China's the enemy. A lot of them will say that. Matt Gaetz will say that. They'll say China's the new enemy, not Russia. They'll do apologetics for Russia, but even those guys understand that China's an enemy. So people aren't buying your bullshit to this CEO. So,
well, just in case you were worried that the deep relationship with China was just going to be a thing of tradition, don't worry. This guy tells you straight up, we have long-term investment in China. So all these issues that you might take with what we're doing, we're going to be doing it for a long time. Enjoy, world.
So this right here, I'm just trying to get this guy's name. Looks like they're saying John Danahoe, or yeah, John Danahoe. That's this guy right here.
Emphasis on ho.
He is the president and CEO of Nike. That's it right there. He's got an MBA from Stanford Graduate School of Business, a bachelor's degree in economics from Dartmouth College. Imagine having an MBA from Stanford and saying, you know what, I want to go and shill for the Communist Party. This guy could have done anything. He could have worked anywhere. And now fast forward, and this is what his life has become. His life, sucking the dick of the CCP on national television. You gotta be kidding me, dude.
John Danahoe, you have been named and shamed.
Named and shamed. Named, shamed, and famed. Or
and blamed.
Famed. Yeah, and blamed.
Well, also operating a very...
And actually, no, you know what? I'm going to let Tucker off the hook a little bit here. There's another clown tonight, so he doesn't have to be the only circus clown.
That's so sweet. Now Tucker doesn't have to be alone.
That's right.
They can be in the clown corner together.
For China together. These guys can talk about how China's more manly together.
A responsible global supply chain.
They can be. Oh, look at that stupid smirk! Oh no! I'm carrying this out for a highlight clip. I know it's probably like a month away before I get to the highlight clips from episode 30. But no, we're saving this. That one's gold. That one's gold, bro. The smugness. You know the vibes I'm getting right here. I'm getting some Gremlin vibes. That's what I'm getting right here. You're like the same person. He's like a richer, blonder version of the Kremlin Gremlin right now.
Bro. Bruh.
They're the same dude.
They're the same picture. They're literally the same picture.
It's like the Tucker video. It's like, wait, so he uploads 16,000 videos defending China and Iran on Secular Talk, and then he's also the CEO of Nike defending the CCP. I mean, I guess he knows how to multitask, but
he's got a lot going on.
Amazing.
Well, you told an analyst on the conference call last quarter that you are a brand. You said we are a brand of China and for China.
What? Wait. He looks spooked. He looks like, what? Oh, okay. Hold on a second.
Wait, he's like, don't hold me to account for what I said.
Hold on a second. There's two of them. So let me get this straight. John Danahoe of Nike Incorporated said, quote, we are a brand of China for China, unquote. Now, I know he would probably mean that to say for as in we provide services to, we provide products for China, but for China kind of sounds like, oh, well, I'm for America. Are you for China? Or are you for America? And he's like, I'm for China. That's what that sounds like. It sounds like an allegiance statement. I know he means it as well. We do business. It sounds like an allegiance statement to me.
Doing business with the CCP might as well be allegiance to the CCP, though.
Yeah.
That's what it is. You know, maybe inadvertent, maybe indirect, but at the end of the day, they're functionally the same thing. The intention behind it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter to the CCP so much. They're like, yeah, we're happy to take your business. That's
You've
fine.
got to be kidding me. You got to be flipping kidding me right now. You got to be flipping kidding me right now.
Kidding me.
For China? That's so mask off, though. That's insane. That's like, oh, no. We're of Nazi Germany for Nazi Germany. They have 1 million people in concentration camps right now in China. Look at his stupid, smug reaction, too. He's like, dude, I would step down rather than do this video. You've got your money, dude.
You got your money, go home.
Which got a lot of attention, given the attention from the U.S.
Like, we don't really cover business news here. I missed that. I never saw that statement. I was not aware that he said that about China. That's an embarrassing statement. So this guy can't do optics. He can't do that. He's the head. He's the public face of Nike, and he can't do optics. They need to get a new CEO. They actually need to get a new CEO that can keep the mask on.
I mean, why though? Is there any real pressure to keep the mask on at this point?
Well, no, you know what? You know what it is? If they did get a new CEO that kept the mask on and said, well, no, it's about, like, we're for America, but we think that having a presence there is good for China and can lead them in the right direction. Then they get a call from the CCP saying, hey, you want us to shut down your 7,000 operations here? And they're like, no. And they become like that doomer pilled meme of like the yes mommy meme or whatever. And they're just like, okay. And,
yes, babe.
Yeah. And they're like, okay. And it's Winnie, and it's like a Wojak-ized version of Winnie the Pooh saying to him, who's like the soy version. Well, I mean, he's soy there, but it basically just like, yes, daddy. And yeah.
Well, we'll definitely be following more news like this because Disney is getting into hot water with China too, with some of their major releases. China's refusing, as far as I know, and it has been a little bit since I looked at the story, but China's refusing to show some of the new Marvel films. For I guess because they had gay characters. So like at Disney's gonna fold. They've folded in the past, and they need their money, especially now.
They thanked in the credits to Mulan the regional party director of the province overseeing the genocide.
Oh, yeah, the Wonderful Land.
Yeah, the Xinjiang is a wonderful land. They thanked the regional party boss that's carrying out the genocide over there. That's
because insane. Disney is a joke.
No, Disney's a fucking joke. The thing is, I'm telling you though, even Tucker watching conservatives are sick of these corporations that outsource their jobs to China. That there actually is a popular movement that's waking up to see China as a disgrace, and they're kind of done with them. A lot of people.
Too bad that was all completely undermined by their reaction to the no issue.
And then that happened, which we can't talk about. See. But I've said before, I was incredibly disappointed, and you can watch my early streams during the first days of that back in March of last year. I said I'm incredibly disappointed that they decided to go in the direction that it was fake and fake news rather than say this was China doing a Pearl Harbor against us. Imagine how different things would be if instead of trying to say, oh, it's fake, the conservatives of America said, oh, we want blood. So,
I mean, potentially we could be done with it, basically.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Like many other nations around the world are functionally done with it. We got a late start because of a lot of bullshit at home. Mm-hmm. And that was the time more than ever to have a truly, bipartisan cultural consensus against China.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen. It didn't happen.
You know what it has to raise some questions for to me? I don't know, me conspiracy bullshit's going to clip this out or something. I wonder if Tucker and some of these other conservative news figures were paid by the CCP to not fear bait about China and blame it on fake news or it's uncomfortable to wear a mask.
That is a spicy claim.
Oh yeah, I don't have any evidence. All I'm saying is these guys act. I guess this is like the Kasparia moment. These guys act as if they were paid by China to distract people and say, no, squirrel, don't focus on the real source of the no issue. So would it surprise me if Tucker was paid by China to not call for blood over this? I don't know. I don't know if the Chinese are that competent. They're not as great at intelligence as the Russians. I know the Russians would do that, but maybe the CCP is learning. I don't know. It definitely seems, though, as if a lot of these conservative figures were paid by China to not blame China and say it was fake. So
even if they're not on the Russian tier, China is well aware of fractures within the United States and are more than willing to take advantage of that. If it means getting America off their back.
You got to think the people that would have been probably the most outraged and pissed by all this would have been the American conservatives that were already talking about how it was a travesty that their jobs were outsourced to China. And then this happened. They were primed to call for blood and get tough on China. And then they had their big media figures that they all listened to say that it was fake. Did the CCP pay those guys? I don't know. So.
Oof.
We know the CCP's paid this guy. Huge portion of his revenue comes from them. So I'm going to look that up right now. What percentage of Nike's income comes from China?
Big yikes right there.
Okay. So China accounts for 20% of their revenue. That's probably their biggest single country.
They're looking at the spreadsheets and they're like, man, China, we're doing numbers.
20%.
Really connecting with the consumers.
No, that's almost certainly going to be their biggest customer base. So
this guy
better watch they make all their shit there too. Like but it's not just like we always talk about the sweatshops and stuff. They do like the cheap labor there. They also sell a lot of stuff there too to the middle class over there that doesn't work in the sweatshops that buy the the stuff. So
they basically are a Chinese corporation then at that point.
Yeah, like so if most of their stuff is made there and the plurality of their stuff is sold there, then he's telling the truth when he says we're of China and for China. He's telling the truth. He's masked off.
Honesty is appreciated in these very murky times.
Oh, for sure.
U.S. and around the world on the human rights issues, the brutal clampdown on Hong Kong.
Oof.
He looks like he's happy. Like I can't tell. Like he looks kind of like, yeah, we made a lot of money off of it, and my yacht is so swaggy, and my new car is pretty like swaggy too. And by the way, I gotta say, you gotta give CNBC some credit for even asking this guy about that, because you might be like, if you ask these questions, you're not going to get to interview the CEO of Nike anymore, because for them it's about access. Like if you're running a business news channel and no CEOs feel comfortable to go on and be interviewed by you because they're worried, then you're not going to be able to run a news show on business anymore. So this actually took a lot of balls on their part right here to do that. So they deserve some credit for that. By the way, that's one good thing that we noticed, is that the media has actually been asking good questions, not just to Joe Biden, but to business leaders too. So people are waking up. It's just, it's not fast enough. And people are able to get away with just bullshitting still. But at least they're asking questions now. Like, because they know. It doesn't matter if you're liberal or conservative. People are pissed at what China's been doing. So,
oh man, you know, it's about to get spicy. Let's hear his PR mop up for the clampdowns in Hong Kong.
Well, I'm wondering. I haven't seen this clip. how could he have a PR mop-up? Everything so far has been mask off. Is he going to keep the mask off and say, well, that's really their sovereignty? Because that's what the New Zealand Chamber of Commerce in Auckland said. They said straight up, well, look, we're not fans of the genocide, but that's their borders and they're a big trading partner of ours. So who are we to say, like the Australians, that that's wrong? Well, they lost a lot of money. Like, flip New Zealand, man. Flip New Zealand. Flip Arden. Flip all those losers. Flip this guy. Flip all of them. So
questions about where COVID-19 came from. Do you feel like you have to sacrifice your values at all as a company?
No. He doesn't have to sacrifice. No. He doesn't have to sacrifice his values, because you can see it in his head. He's like, bitch, my values. I'm working with the CTV.
What are values? What are values?
What are those? How do they work?
The values of the socks, right? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, he's like, values, how do they work? He's like, values? You mean the net present value of money?
Bro.
The money.
What a question to ask this guy of all people.
Values. Bro's the CEO of Nike. That's like asking Hitler, like, do you think it compromises your values to be in a short-term alliance with the Soviets? And he's like, well, I mean, I guess it kind of compromises my values a little bit. I want to exterminate them, but we also make money together. That's like an interview with Hitler. You're like, what is this? We're talking about values. It's like asking Osama bin Laden, do you think it compromises your values to like have like all those porn videos in your safe house? And he's like, my values? I did 9/11. What are you talking about?
Bro.
To do business there and to continue to grow.
No, I can't handle his stupid face, dude. I'm getting Kyle vibes. I'm seriously getting Kyle vibes right now. They're the same dude. It's like, Kyle, you're 35. This guy, he's 55. Kyle's going to look like that in 20 years. Bro.
He's a time traveler as well.
Grow and continue those deep roots that you talked about Nike has there.
Not at all, Sarah. We connect to consumers.
Hold on. We're going back.
I
want full context. I want full context on this. We're going back. But I gotta get some water first, so feel free to entertain the people for a minute, Reece. I'll be back.
I get you.
Unbelievable.
I knew this one was going to be bad, but didn't expect it to be such a hit. Such a banger, as you guys all know. Looking at the chat. We got Mass Creation Broadcast in the chat. People should go check out his channel. I was watching one of his videos he did on Rachel Oates, who's an old nemesis of mine. Not even really, not that personal, but I did make a couple of videos on her back in the day. Seeing content on her's funny.
Okay.
And we got Kevin back.
Flipping go.
And given the attention from the U.S. and around the world on the human rights issues, the brutal clampdown on Hong Kong, questions about where COVID-19 came from, do you feel like you have to sacrifice your values at all as a company to do business there and to continue to grow and continue those deep roots that you talked about Nike has there?
Not at all, Sarah.
Yeah, not at all. You know why? Because his values are in line with the Communist Party. So,
and beyond that, the values are just profit. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter who gets exploited in the process. It doesn't matter how many genocides you have to turn away from. It's a profit. That's what it is. And that is why what we're seeing unfold is such a disaster. If you don't actually have a governing body that's going to intervene and clamp down and turn, these companies and corporations more in the interests of the United States and her values, they have no incentive at all. What are the consumers going to organize themselves? The consumers will bitch and moan about China, as they should, but I have serious doubts that's going to change anything. I have serious doubts there would be any kind of successful boycott of Nike over these statements. It's just not happening.
But I'm telling you now that everybody out there, buy your alcohol from Australia and buy your shoes not from Nike. So, and your socks.
Like, if people really want to get serious about this, it needs to be government led. When I was seeing a lot of this rhetoric about the kind of the economic inflation that the United States is suffering as it recovers, all I could think was, man, if people are complaining about prices rising now, imagine the bitching and moaning that we would hear if we actually weren't reliant on slave labor in China. It would be never ending. And it was like, I saw that and I became real doomer pilled. I was like, it's over. How do you compete with that?
But this is so bad,
hook, line, and sinker.
It's so flipping dangerous because we barely won the Cold War as it was. Like, think about this. If in the Able Archer 83 it actually led to a nuclear conflagration, the Soviets would have won that. They would have steamrolled through NATO, and they would have eventually occupied the United States because they would have been the ones firing the nukes first because they got a false alarm that they didn't know was a false alarm. And America guaranteed, like Reagan had admitted for all of Reagan, look, Reagan was pretty based on foreign policy, but I watched an interview with one of the men that worked around Reagan, and he was talking about how Reagan didn't even really understand the difference between conventional and nuclear weapons until after he saw the film The Day After, which came out in 1983, and that he had never really even practiced or considered what he would do if there was a nuclear war. And I'm looking at this and I'm just like, it's very possible that if they got warning that 30,000 or some odd missiles had just launched at the United States and her allies, that the White House would that they would just be paralyzed. That they'd be like, well, let's confirm that it's real. And then they get confirmation that it's real. They wouldn't know what to do. They would lose so many bases and so many silos before the order to retaliate was even given that the Soviets would have basically won the war already in the first hour. You'd have 150 million dead Americans. Most of the air bases are wiped out in the first wave. A lot of the submarines are already gone. A lot of the missile fields in the Midwest and Wyoming and stuff are already gone. Like, what's America going to have left? NATO's eviscerated. Kiwis, basically. Yeah, but you may have New Zealand left still. Like, the Soviets very easily would have won the war if it went hot and they started it. Now, likewise, America could have won the war if America started it too, but that probably wasn't going to happen. We knew it was going to be probably an accident, because that's the thing about MAD. MAD works with rational actors. Nobody's going to start a nuclear war if MAD is actually a thing. The problem with MAD is that MAD doesn't prevent accidental firings. That's the issue with it. And that's what would have led to the war going hot. We got lucky in a way during the Cold War that the Soviet Union was so incompetent when it came to the economic angle. Because think about it this way. If they tried Lenin's strategy again and did another version of the new economic policy where Lenin basically let free market businesses come in and stuff, and at least small businesses and medium-sized businesses with the permission of the party do business as if they were almost like a capitalist country for a few years after the Civil War and everything had happened. Imagine they did that under Brezhnev, or imagine that they did that under Andropov, for example, and they brought in a bunch of Western factories for sweatshops and stuff. Maybe the Soviets could have won because they'd have us by the balls financially, because that's what China's doing. So if we barely won the Cold War against a country that had no financial leverage over us, how are we supposed to win a Cold War against a country that you owe trillions of dollars to and all of your companies are going to bat for on national television? The Soviets never actually had this kind of power. And you might say, well, they had a lot more military power, and that's true. But I've got a story out. I've been meaning to make this video. American Federation of Scientists has a long piece talking about it. We just discovered a second missile field that they're building in China right now That's not a typo. The first one that I did the video on a couple weeks ago, that one was the first one. There's a second one. It looks like they're bringing online about 1,000 new nuclear warheads in this batch. They're going to catch up. So they're going to go from 300 to 1,300. America's got 6,000 to 7,000. What, are we just going to wait for them to get more nukes than America? I can't stand to watch this go down. To me, it's obvious what they're doing. They're using their financial leverage to buy time so that they can build up their conventional and nuclear forces to start the Third World War on their terms. Because they want to take Taiwan, and they want to take Japan, and they want to take Australia. And then they want to take more in Asia as well. So, and they want us to get spooked enough that we'll let them do it. So definitely Taiwan. That's crazy to me. And people like this guy are helping speed up that process. He has no criticism.
It doesn't conflict with his values, man.
It doesn't conflict with his values.
Doesn't give him any pause.
Imagine this was Germany. Imagine this was Germany in the 30s. They asked them about that. They're like, you do this business here, but they're running the Holocaust, and they've got massive anti-Semitic pogroms and everything going on. Does that conflict with your values? And he's like, no, absolutely not. We got
not at all.
There. Not at all. You would think that guy, you know what you would call that guy? You would call that guy a Nazi sympathizer. Everybody would recognize that guy as a Nazi sympathizer. People talk about that with IBM. People still talk about that with IBM because IBM sold a lot of the computer equipment that the Nazis used to document and classify different people in the Holocaust. So one of the reasons why they were able to do what they did on such a mass scale was through technology that they bought from American corporations. So that's true that they did business with IBM, and people still talk about that to this day. Well, but if IBM has to deal with the legacy of collaborating with the Nazis, then why aren't we calling this guy a Communist Party sympathizer? That's what this guy should be known of. John Danahoe, Communist Party sympathizer. That's what he should be known as. So, in fact, what's the word? Let's see. Let's call this guy Xinjiang John. Let's go with that.
Xinjiang John. Oh, wouldn't that be John Cena? John Cena's in the corner like, hey, man, that's me.
I had a different nickname for him. I think it was something like CCP Cena or something. I'm not 100% sure. No. This guy right here, CEO of Nike, his name is Xinjiang John. So, and in the title for the
Johns are very sus. What's up with these Johns?
And so Kyle too. What's up with that? Kyles and Johns. Okay.
We connect to consumers in markets all over the world. And so I could say, go into any country around the world and say, consumers in that market.
Cool false equivalence, bro. It's like, oh, well, there's a genocide over here, but there are also customers in America. We do both sides. It's kind of like saying, it's like, so what's up with all this business with the Nazis? And you're like, well, we also do business with the Soviets. It's like, oh, okay.
Even though the quote was, we're a company for China.
Of China for China. But
we do business elsewhere. Like that's amazing. Like, so you're asked specifically about your business dealings with China. Well, what about these other business dealings? That's very interesting. No one was talking about that. No one actually takes issue that you do business in America. They take issue that you do business in China.
So his company that he represents here is of China for China. But when he goes to cocktail parties and hangs out with friends, that's in America. Like, obviously, I don't hang out with CEOs and stuff. But if I did, and I knew that there was a CEO at a party or whatever that was saying shit like this on TV, I'd be like, hey, I wanted to ask you something about that. That's kind of depraved, man. Like, because you know, some of the people that he hangs around with have to have some degree of ethics, and they're obviously fairly smart and educated people. I wonder if he ever gets asked about that at like any of the parties and stuff that he goes to. Like, hey, you ever feel like embarrassed? You could have done anything. You could have worked anywhere, and instead you went out and defended China on national TV. Like, or maybe they all are just like, oh, isn't it so awesome? We make all this money over there. Maybe they're all like that. Who knows? But,
no, at the cocktail party, they were probably consoling him, like, yeah, we know that the mean reporter lady asked you some tough questions. John, it's okay. Come here. You'll be fine. You're the victim here, man.
No, I'm sure we probably, if we could hear the audio afterwards, he was probably saying shit like, well, I'm never going on that stupid CNBC network again. They're just a bunch
bitch.
of, yeah.
She's
What are these
blacklisted.
guys? Yeah, what are these guys? A bunch of nationalists or something? This is stupid. So that's probably what he was saying. So, because think about it. It's kind of crazy that a business news network is asking questions like this that would imply you should probably be careful about doing business with China. These guys would dismiss that as jingoism and nationalism and
xenophobia,
isolationism, and all those kinds of terms.
Sinophobia too.
Yes, that too. Russophobia as well. Let's just throw that in there because everybody's a Russophobe. So
consider Nike a brand of their market for them, and that's one of the reasons Nike's been so globally successful. And we've been globally successful because we have no principles whatsoever, and we don't care if you torture and take kids away from their parents and put them in camps and kill them. We don't care. If you've got money, we'll do business with you. So this guy, why isn't he? Let's be real about something. The only reason he's not doing business and saying statements about this about North Korea is because the U.S. has official sanctions in place that would send him to prison if he did. Unfortunately, there are no sanctions like that on China. So,
come on, man. There's a blueprint right there. Just copy and paste.
Mm-hmm.
But no, we can't do that. We want our cheap shit.
We want our cheap shit.
Operate very aligned with our values. Always have.
And let's be real. The only reason why it's like that on North Korea is because North Korea is very over the top belligerent, and not in the mask on kind of way that China is, where they're like, no, we'll take time, we'll do business, we'll build up our military, we won't start the war yet. North Korea is constantly doing all kinds of like tests and stuff and sinking South Korean ships. They're more over the top aggressive, and they're also kind of tiny. But imagine if North Korea was as big as China. By the way, I'm just going to give you a heads up. I just noticed that audio reverberation is happening on your microphone. It just started. It might have started earlier. I just noticed it now, but
okay. Nobody said anything in the chat, so I think we're mostly fine.
Okay, I don't. Oh yeah. So that was Reece right there. He'll be back in a second. So what I wanted to say about this was that I think it's because North Korea is such a small potential market that you can sanction them and get away with it. But with a big market like China, there's no political will to do it because all those companies would be like, no, but we make our profits there. We need those slave sweatshops, man. So we got Reece back in the studio.
Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay,
it better?
It worked. Yeah, it worked.
Yeah.
Good. Let's go. Let's flip and go. Oh, I can't get over the smugness too. You got to be kidding me, dude. This guy
he's saying something about my values again.
The most insufferable person. I'm getting that meme vibe of like he's at a party in the corner and he's like, they don't know I'm of China, I'm for China. So.
That's a great meme, and put his face on it.
Yeah, because I'm basically getting the vibes that like maybe he doesn't even go to cocktail parties. He's just an insufferable little dweeb. So
been always will, including throughout our entire supply chain. And so this is simply part of the challenges of operating a global brand in global markets. And we've navigated that very well.
The challenges.
Navigated it very well. No. You guys fucked up. You guys flipped up. You guys failed. You can navigate it by not doing business with genocidal regimes. You can do business with non-genocidal regimes. Nobody's going to be angry at you if you do business in Luxembourg or if you do business in India. But we're going to have an issue if you do business in China, obviously. So,
you know what it's like? He's saying, well, yeah, the values of our supply chain. Like that would be like saying, well, yeah, we have an HR department. It's like, yeah, but you're operating in a country that's doing a genocide, bro. Bro, you can't get past that. As much as you want to try, you can't get past that. That's amazing. To just be like, oh yeah, no, we've navigated it very well, and we're facing the challenges of being an international corporation by taking on all comers, basically. You want to do business with us? Doesn't matter your track record. We're going to do business with you.
Amazing.
There you go.
And you see their shareholder or their stock prices there going up over the last year. If you got stock in these guys, get stock in a better company. You can make money on other stuff. You can make money on Dogecoin. You don't need this.
Yeah, these are tainted stonks.
Yeah. This is like investing in basically any of those German manufacturers during World War II. So
years, and we will continue to.
It's like investing in Mitsubishi during World War II. Like, dude,
do that.
We will continue to do that. In other words, so he didn't even have a PR angle to it. He just admitted it. He didn't even address it and say that
there wasn't even like a platitude of like, oh yeah, cracking down on democracy in Hong Kong is we're against that. Because if he said that, there would be a phone call.
There would be a phone call. No, you're right. There'd be a phone call because all he would have to say is like, look, we don't love the dictators, but we make money there. But you can't even say that.
They signed my checks. Look, man, I can't say much more.
I don't know what goes through these people's heads to do that. Like, because you could make money anywhere else. Why do you have to make money showing for the CCP?
But they have a lot of people, man.
I'm so done with these stupid free trade bro, immoral, amoral CEOs that at the end of the day, they stand for nothing. And you know what? If you don't stand for anything and you do this kind of BS false equivalency and you equivocate between the free world and China and you say you navigated this well as a genocide is underway, history is going to look back on you as a fucking disgrace and an utter collaborator with the Communist Party. John Danahoe, Xinjiang John, hashtag Xinjiang John. So
make it trend, people.
Make a trend, people. Absolutely. Fuck Nike.
I think that we're get swoosh, Nike. I think we're due to go to an intermission. We have plenty more doozies when we come back. Thank you to everyone who's been sticking around. This has been a fantastic episode 30, in my humble opinion. And we appreciate the support. And stick around and we'll be right back.
Yeah, we'll be back in about 5 minutes, everybody. Stay with us. Okay, we're back. Let's go. Let's flip and go.
Back on the attack. Well, we did do a concern segment earlier. I'm sorry to inform you, we're gonna have to do another one.
Yeah. Let's get concerned, ladies and gentlemen.
In a given week, there truly is a lot of concern to go around. This was another clip from Twitter. This is the UN, of course, Secretary General railing against nuclear weapons. Of course.
God, this is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. I knew we were going to do this one, but I like what No Name says in the chat. 30. You know that made me think of. You're almost 35, Ghoul Gang Rising. You're 35, Ghoul Gang Rising.
Yeah, maybe episode 35 will be special just for that meme. Yeah, that's a good point.
You're 35, Kyle. Okay.
Ghouls, you're 35.
You're 35.
Bro.
Hiroshima is defined not only by the tragedy unleashed on it. The unparalleled advocacy of its survivors, the Hibakusha, is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They have dedicated their lives to sharing their experiences and campaigning to make sure no one else suffers their fate. The United Nations shared the Hibakusha's vision of a world without nuclear weapons. This was the subject of the first ever General Assembly resolution, passed just 5 months after the bombing of Hiroshima and the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons, the only guarantee against the use of nuclear weapons.
By the way, in case you're wondering, the treaty on the non-proliferation of nuclear weapons, it recognizes the United States, France, the United Kingdom, Russia, and China as status quo nuclear powers. So no, they don't actually want to get total elimination. Even the NPT is fine with 5 countries having nukes. So that's a lie.
And even if they were serious,
he's read the charter before. He's read the charter. He's the general secretary. So
even if they were serious, how in how in the world would you actually expect to accomplish a goal like that?
Well, you could do it. You could technically do it. There actually is a way to make it happen, which is that after World War II, the U.S. nukes the USSR. Establishes total American hegemony over the world in all corners of the world, a federation of democracies, and then over a long time of slow demilitarization and increased, what would you say, coming together as a world, eventually you'd have a point where you'd only really have coast guards and small militaries for like National Guard purposes, and maybe then you could get rid of nuclear weapons. But I don't even think in that world you could actually get rid of them. I think the US would still have to maintain some, because once that knowledge is discovered, there's no putting that back in the bottle. And a terrorist group could still get a low yield device or something in a world without nuclear weapons. Even if we lived in a world where no states ever pursued nuclear weapons, you could get your own, technically speaking. So, I mean... Realistically speaking, all you need is a couple pieces. Yeah, all you need is a couple pieces of enriched uranium and smash them together at a high enough velocity, right? So that's the problem. As long as uranium exists, as long as that's a thing in the universe, there's going to be nuclear weapons. So
uranium is officially canceled.
Mm-hmm.
It's over.
Ban uranium. Yeah, why don't we just ban uranium? What about that? Just get rid of it.
This response to the anniversary of Hiroshima, obviously we talked about it last night, but it is so over the top. It is so hysterical, and it's so disingenuous above all else. You never hear about any of the context that you pointed out in your upload, which I still stand by as one of your best videos, or any of the context we talked about last night. Not even a peep. And I'm so sick of that shit, man. I'm so sick of that shit. They act like that was an act of just totally unprovoked aggression on the part of the United States. That is some grade A bullshit right there. Yeah, we're vying for a world with no nuclear weapons. Good luck with that. You're the fucking UN. You don't have the power to do anything.
By the way, they can't even guarantee a world that there's no genocide in, and that's a lot easier to achieve than a world without nukes. So
yeah, so maybe they should sit down. Let the big kids handle this.
Yeah. Also, let's be real about something. Nuclear weapons aren't actually that much of an issue as long as America's the only country that's got them, or the US and the UK have them. So that wouldn't actually be like, oh, we need to get rid of these things. What? Because the US and the UK are going to nuke other democracies? That wouldn't happen. So.
No, they're just bad. They're just intrinsically bad. You can't have them.
Intrinsically bad. Consider this. In World War II, over 50 million people were killed. Only 200,000 died from nuclear weapons. So.
Without nuclear weapons. This was the subject of the first ever General Assembly resolution passed just 5 months after the bombing of Hiroshima and the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons. The only guarantee against the use of nuclear weapons is their total elimination. The United Nations, and I personally, continue to be fully committed to the goal of a nuclear weapon-free world.
There you go. Thank you for the concern. Thanks for weighing in with that oh so important analysis. And very, very achievable goals right there.
Committed to it. They recognize 5 countries as permanent nuclear powers. So it's bullshit, whatever.
There is that as well. And you know, if push comes to shove, who are they going to be pressuring to give up their nukes? It's going to be the UK. It's going to be the United States. Is it going to be Russia? Absolutely not.
No. You know what it's going to be? It's going to be these rogue states like North Korea, and it's going to be democracies like America. It's not going to be the established dictatorships that are the veto powers. So
that's so cringe. Established dictatorships on the Permanent Security Council.
That's right.
Fuck
North
the
Korea
UN,
is a rogue
man.
state. North Korea is a rogue state, and they're bad, and they're not a member of the international community, and they shouldn't have nuclear weapons, and they're in violation of the Non-Proliferation Treaty on Nuclear Weapons. China, on the other hand, they're not in violation of it. They're enshrined as one of the 5 that are allowed to have nukes, and they have a permanent veto on the UN. They're an established dictatorship. They're not a rogue state. How can they be a rogue state? They're one of the 5 key players of the United Nations. So,
and now I hope people who might have been on the fence can see why we take issue with the United Nations and find them to be next to useless when it actually comes to tackling the biggest national security problems facing the West. But no, can't talk. I mean, people have such faith. I would, give anything for someone to have faith in me the way that brainlets have faith in the United Nations. It is sickening.
Yes. No, it's like, what's that? Find yourself a girl who compliments you the way that liberal internationalists compliment the United Nations.
Yeah, for real, man. For real. It's just, it's so unjustified. It's so unjustified. This is the rhetoric that they're delivering. What have they done? What have they accomplished as of late? Oh yeah, they managed to agree on a resolution that maybe we should send some weapons to Myanmar 3 months too late. Okay. What an achievement. Anyway, we will move on.
Yeah.
I got another one. Let's flip and go. This is oh boy, you thought that was bad. Title of this video is Kim Iverson. Uh-oh.
Oh god.
Too late to stop war with Iran? Aggressions ramp up as the US withdraws from Iraq.
Yeah, we're issuing an alert on this one.
All right, Kim, what's on your radar?
There's going to be another alert.
Well, remember when Biden promised?
Hold on a second. I'm out of the loop. She works at Rising now?
I'm not sure. Maybe she's just a guest, but it kind of looks like she's more of a host now. They're really getting desperate.
What a meme. Wait, she doesn't even have that big of a following. like Kim Iverson. Let's see. She's got, okay, so 286,000 subs. So she has about 400 times as many subs as this channel. But that's not Kyle level. That's not Jimmy level. I'm surprised they go for her. She's like, consider this. She's around the same size as Vosh. That's weird. Okay.
Is this her technically selling out because now she's on a mainstream platform?
Yeah, she's mainstream media now, man. You're
part of the lamestream media, Kim.
Mainstream establishment. Let's go.
To get us back into the Iran nuclear deal. Well, that's looking less and less likely with fresh accusations of aggressions and, quite frankly, a lack of appetite in Washington to do a compromise deal. The prospects of reining in on Iran's nuclear program and lifting sanctions on the Iranian people are dimming. And worse, the constant threat of war is still looming. Last week, an Israeli-owned oil tanker, Mercer Street, was traveling from the United Arab Emirates to Tanzania when it was struck by drones. The attack left 2 crew members.
I like how she talks about the threat of war. Let's keep in mind something. The war is already underway. Iran bombed Saudi Arabia's largest oil refinery last year. Iran, and that wasn't just the Houthis, that was literally Iranian missiles.
And this most recent story, they just attacked an Israeli ship.
Yes, and they attacked an Israeli ship a few months ago in the Gulf. Yeah, in the Gulf, they attacked an Israeli vessel as well. They blew it up. So
I like how she says there's no appetite in Washington to do a deal that involves compromise. Oh yeah, maybe not enough compromise for you, but trust me, there's enough John Kerrying going on in Washington these days. But it's never enough. Never enough capitulation for the fifth column hacks like Kimbo Bimbo.
Hacks and quacks.
Dead, and though there isn't any solid evidence, the UK and Israel are pointing the finger at Iran. Iran, of course, is
solid evidence.
No solid evidence. Oh, what are you going to do? Trust the CIA and Mossad, man? Iran said they didn't do it. Iran said they didn't do it.
If she hasn't physically seen the evidence, it's not there, man. It's not a thing. Wow. Yeah, I wonder who else it could be. we need to put some suspects up against the wall. Who could it be? Could be anybody, because all the nations are the same. That's basically the moral relativist line we've been hearing throughout the whole podcast. All nations are the same. Put them all against the wall. Who is it? Who attacked Israel?
Amazing.
And also without evidence is claiming it's just another psyops and false flag operation intended to derail nuclear talks. This is just the latest in a long string of tit-for-tat aggressions between the two nations. Back in February, Israel blamed Iran when a mysterious explosion struck an Israeli-owned cargo ship. In March, Israel blamed Iran for deliberately spilling oil on its shores. Over the past year, Iran has blamed Israel for a series of mysterious explosions, fires, and blackouts in various nuclear facilities and other infrastructure. And if you just try searching Israel blames Iran or Iran blames Israel, you will see dozens of allegations of sabotage and attacks that the two countries have lobbed towards one another. It's clear that both nations are trying to halt the other from growing and gaining power, and that's really the fundamental issue.
Yeah, but that's a stupid false equivalence, because we know for a fact that Israel has interfered in Iran and that they undermined their centrifuges, for example, and that they killed Mohsen Fakhrizadeh. That's a good thing, though. I'm glad that they're undermining Iran's nuclear capacity. But she's like, oh, they're both doing things to each other. Yeah, except one's the good guy, the other's the bad guy. So
I love, and this is something that we saw the last time we covered Kim, but her analysis is extra special, useless to me. So what's she saying here? She's saying it's very clear that Iran and Israel are two nations that are against each other's growth and success. Yet no shit.
Wait, what? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Why? Why? I thought they were best buds. Why don't they get along, Reece?
Like, what would compel you to feel the need to say that? That's crazy to me. Why? Unless you really understand that your audience is filled with brainlets who never heard that before. They're like, oh,
No.
now I get it.
Wait, are you calling me a brainlet? I'm seriously asking you to explain why don't they like each other? I thought, like, why? Nobody ever taught anybody that in school. So
yeah, breaking news: Israel and Iran not friends.
But why? Why can't they be friends? Why don't they want to be internet friends?
Want to be friends? Yeah, no.
Want to be friends? Want to be friends?
Why
Logan
can't
said
we
he wanted to
be friends? Why can't we?
Vaxie said he wanted to be YouTube friends. A Trap Town City said he wanted to be YouTube friends. Why can't we be YouTube friends?
Man, there's negotiations. It'll happen someday.
Amazing.
Standing in the way of a nuclear agreement. Israel, under no circumstances, wants a deal to be struck with Iran. They fear that when the sanctions and restrictions are lifted, the country will begin to grow economically, allowing them more power and influence in the region. And because they don't trust that Iran will stop developing a nuclear arsenal.
Let's not leave it at that. Yeah, more power and influence in the region. Let's not mention where that influence comes from in places like Lebanon.
Yeah.
Don't mention it. Yeah, Israel's concerned about that because more money freed up for Iran, more assets freed up for Iran equals more attacks on them. And then we're scratching our heads like, man, Israel, they must be against peace. They don't want a deal. They're a bunch of warmongers. Dude, even our feckless administration, with all their bullshit in Afghanistan, even they're like, yeah, we're not doing that again. Like, they're not convinced right now. They're dancing around it, but ultimately they're not yeah, she's right to say they're not willing to make those compromises. They're not, because they've gotten extra special ridiculous, especially in the last couple of months. They're not gonna lift all the sanctions anytime soon. What has Iran done to deserve that? To deserve that kind of leniency? Absolutely fucking nothing. And this latest attack, that could have been done by anybody, I'm sure. Yeah, is not helping their case.
Could have been Antarctica, man.
Could have been the IRA. Who fucking knows?
They think the result will be a wealthy, thriving Islamic nation with nukes. Rather, if things stay the way they are, Iran remains broke, struggling, and needing to pour resources into their people rather than into weapons. But obviously, keeping a nation down.
Well, that would be good.
By the way, that's not even really the fear, a wealthy, thriving Islamic country with nukes. The problem with Iran isn't that they would have nukes. The problem with Iran is that they would use nukes. Let's just be clear about that. They're not like they're trying to be like the next Soviet Union or something. If anybody's going to use nukes first, it's going to be Iran. They have a death wish. So
that's that description right there says it all. Like, oh yeah, they'll be wealthy. No. The leadership would be wealthy.
Yeah.
The people would basically be the same.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's all the money.
People? No, the money will just go to the war efforts. They're waging a campaign of blood across the region, multiple wars. They're in like 7 wars right now. So,
and it is being felt at home. There were some recent videos I was retweeting on Twitter where it was essentially people protesting Hezbollah, who is they're a proxy of Iran. They were Iranians. They were protesting and actually prevented Hezbollah from launching an attack in Lebanon. So that is an amazing development, and more of that, please, seriously, because that gives me hope that there actually could be something happening internally. But it's not going to happen that way. Of course, that'd be much too easy, and the regime is going to plan accordingly for something like that. And ultimately, all the attempts to really rise up against them, especially in the last couple of years, they were failures, absolute failures. And as we said last night, it doesn't matter. You don't get remembered for trying. That doesn't reflect well on you necessarily. You're going to be remembered as a failure. You'll be remembered as the person who failed to assassinate Hitler, and you'll be remembered as the person who failed to assassinate the Ayatollah. That's it.
Absolutely.
causes anger, animosity, and as we're seeing, it isn't really halting aggressions. Instead, the U.S. is trying to back our buddy up, and it's entangled in efforts to keep Iran surrounded and in check. This means troops on the ground in Iraq that never seem to leave. They just get repurposed. Same with Syria. And with increased aggressions in Afghanistan on the eve of our scheduled departure, one wonders if there will be a sudden change of heart, especially when Israel's defense minister, Benny Gantz, makes comments referring to Iran's newly elected incoming president like, quote, Iran under the executioner Reece, who takes office this week, will be more dangerous to the world, more destructive to the region, and will strive to become an existential threat to Israel, unquote.
Yes.
Yeah, like absolutely. He knows what he's talking about. But unfortunately, she's wrong. There's not going to be a change of heart. Joe Biden's leaving Afghanistan. They've basically already gone. So,
what she's saying, she's basically just doing the news, but the tone in which she's saying it is just baffling to me. Yeah, we're gonna back up our buddy Israel. Yeah, against existential aggression. Yeah. That's how it works. You defend your allied nations and you do aggression against opposing nations. Look at these things you have to explain. Utterly amazing. And look, in the United States, we never seem to leave. We never seem to leave these places, Iraq and Syria. Yeah, it's probably because there's fucking problems there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we're just there. We're sightseeing and wasting taxpayer money. It's just a bunch of bases where they're playing poker. No. This is a real concern. Uh-oh. Now I'm becoming concerned.
Uh-oh, concern alert.
I'm the concerned one now, but I'm genuinely concerned about this kind of shit.
By the way, this one's a long video. We're only about 30% through. Are we actually going to watch all of this? I can't stand Kim.
We will see what we can do. Maybe she'll actually get into her own opinion at some point.
And went a step further and stated that now is the time to act against Iran, trying to bait us into another never-ending Middle Eastern war, right as we're ending one. How convenient.
Kim,
by the way,
how convenient. What the fuck?
I like how she says, like, this segment is like on my radar, and in the background they've got a picture of a radar installation there, a couple different angles and stuff, and it's kind of translucent. Her radar was made in China. She's got shit radar. So
I like how she said she's trying to spin. Understand this, people. She's trying to spin a conspiracy that, oh, we're pulling out of Afghanistan. I guess to just satiate people at home and say, hey, we're done with the wars. Oh, but now we're going to do a war with Iran. I got news for you. We're not going to do a war with Iran. Not with this current administration. Fuck no. So this is just fear-mongering bullshit. We're not going to be dragged into a war. Israel's not going to launch a war. There's going to be no war. The current trajectory is Iran gets their arsenal. That is the current trajectory, and I don't see anyone taking a preemptive action against that, given the pieces on the board. But she's trying to tell you, she's trying to say that the higher ups, their strategy was to distract you with the withdrawal from Afghanistan so they could invade Iran, except that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen at all. And watch it not happen, and watch her not do a retraction and not say, whoops, I was wrong. Watch that happen too. That'll be amazing. And should there? Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about what should be done, not what's going to be done. What should be done? Yeah, there should be something done about Iran right now. That Benny Gantz is right about that. Now is the time to act. You know why? Because they don't fucking have a nuclear arsenal. You fucking dumb bitch.
No, but if they don't have nukes, then why would you attack them? They don't actually have nukes yet. But if they do have nukes, like, they haven't hurt anybody. They don't have nukes. It's not like they have nukes. But then if they do have nukes, oh, you can't attack them. They have nukes, dude. That's crazy. That's spooky.
You're right. I really don't like her. I don't.
I hate her. I hate her, dude. I
hate them.
No, I hate them, man. I'm like Oz right now. I'm channeling my inner Oz.
The rhetoric in Washington isn't much better. On Monday, Secretary of State Anthony Blinken vowed to retaliate against Iran for the alleged attack on the oil tanker.
That's Blinken? She's spooked by Blinken? Blinken's a bummer. Imagine if we were in charge. Like, her head would literally explode. It'd be like 6 megatons of spooked.
Yeah, what exactly is this collective response? No, it's gonna be some concern. It's gonna be some finger waving
statements. These guys think concern is an action. These guys, like,
concern of aggression.
How do you want to retaliate? And they're like, we're going to express strong concern for our retaliation. It's not retaliation.
We'll see. We'll see what they do. Probably slap another sanction on them, and then, slap themselves on the back and say, we did a good job.
Did a good job, yeah.
Calling for a collective response with U.S. allies against Iran. With these sorts of allegations, accusations, aggressions, and rhetoric, it's looking less likely we get a deal done and more likely we remain in the Middle East indefinitely. Now, listen, I don't want a nuclear Iran, but I also don't want a nuclear United States.
Bro! Kim! Bro!
False equivalence in real time, for sure.
But I don't want Hitler to be engaged in a war, but I also don't want America to be engaged in a war on Hitler. So
I don't want there to be a nuclear Iran. Oh, but I don't actually want to do anything about that. I want us to get involved in a deal. A deal, the original deal did not prohibit them indefinitely from getting them, and in the process enrich them greatly. It was so you'd see a similar thing play out here, most likely. Any deal that they would actually accept, that's the problem. They're not going to accept a deal that prohibits them forever from getting those weapons, because those weapons are more important than some temporary cash that they're going to burn through on proxies anyway. They're not going to agree to any kind of deal that would be in our favor. Fuck no. They agreed with the first deal because it favored them. Look at these things we have to explain as well. That is the only reason they agreed. Same thing with North Korea. That's why they're not coming to the table now, because they realize that the current administration isn't going to make those kinds of concessions that the past administration did. So they say there's no point. There's no point. There's nothing to be gained here. And yet you still have people like Kim Iverson, fifth column hacks, who talk about my peace. Oh, we need this deal because I don't want a nuclear Iran.
The term is hacks and quacks.
Hacks and quacks. There you go. I got it wrong.
You got it wrong.
She doesn't want there to be a nuclear Iran. Oh, hey, we have some common ground. I don't want there to be a nuclear Iran either. You want to do something about that? What if you had to do something about that? I just don't like it. Oh, it's very interesting. You don't like it. That's so helpful. How about we do something about that? No, that would be spooky. Okay. Oh, and by the way, part of preventing them from becoming a nuclear power would involve the United States. I know, icky. Can't do that. And they would actually have to keep their nukes. Oh.
But Reece, you don't get it. She was concerned in high school.
I'm sure she was
in high school,
and she's very concerned now. She doesn't want there to be a nuclear Iran, but she also doesn't want a nuclear United States. She just wants peace, man.
She wants peace.
Except
who doesn't want peace? We want peace. We want peace. We like peace. So she likes peace. We're like the same person.
Peace in the face of what we are witnessing with the expansion of the Islamic Republic is evil. And there's no other word for it. It's just evil. But it's peace. No.
Yeah, because like for us, we recognize that the only way that you can have peace is to have a democratic world. And she's just like, but why can't we just accept status quo dictators? Then we could have peace. She's like Neville Chamberlain type peace. Okay, have fun with that.
No one would have any nukes.
Oh, no one would have any nukes. Oh my god. Honestly, this whole thing, I don't want anybody to have any nukes. It's honestly as cringy as the Oprah defensive realist Oprah meme of everybody gets nukes. It's like the flip side of that. They're both cringe. It's like inside of you, there are two wolves. One of them is cringe and lame. The other is lame and cringe.
Oh man. Yeah, That would go so well. I'm sure nobody would develop something. There'd be no uranium-based weapon.
No. You know what we'll do? We'll just ban uranium. We'll collect all the uranium in the universe and we'll nuke
shoot it into the sun.
We'll nuke it. And then there's no more uranium.
It's you're done, son.
Yes, you're done, son. Just get all the uranium in the universe, dig it out of the ground, dig it out of the core, dig it out of the sun, dig it everywhere, and put it in one place and nuke it. No more uranium ever again. So
No, you don't nuke it. You put it in the blender.
You put it in the blender. Yeah, I'm gonna put. Well, actually, that's what Iran's doing. That's how they get their enriched uranium. I mean, you really think about it, a centrifuge is kind of a blender. It's like the Ayatollah's just like, I'm gonna put this uranium in the blender. That's what he says when he's on Dylan Burns TV and he fires up the centrifuges. So, yeah,
that's amazing.
I mean, what is a blender? It's basically a centrifuge. So, I mean, think about it. You want your protein shakes? Maybe you could be as tough as a nuke. You just uranium shakes. What about that?
Uranium shakes.
At least indefinitely. Now, listen, I don't want a nuclear Iran, but I also don't want a nuclear United States. I mean, if it were up to me, no one would have any nukes at all. But I have to tell you, I don't lie awake at night worrying about a nuclear Iran any more than I worry about a nuclear Pakistan or a nuclear India.
So she's an idiot. She's an idiot. Think about this. Iran's so bad that to compare them to Pakistan is a false equivalence. Even Pakistan, they're not going to just do a nuclear first strike on Israel and be like, yes, we get to be martyred or whatever. Even Pakistan's a little too busy for that. Iran straight up will use the nukes. They'll give them to their proxies. Even Pakistan is more responsible than Iran. So you think about it this way. Pakistan does a lot of terrorism, and they've supported the Taliban, and they've done terrorism against India. They're nowhere near Iran in terms of state-sponsored terrorism, though. That's how bad Iran is. And Iran doesn't even have nukes. So
try to wrap your head around this. She said that she doesn't want there to be a nuclear Iran, the same way she doesn't want there to be a nuclear United States. But she also says she doesn't lay awake at night worrying about a nuclear Iran. Oh, really? Then why the fuck are you against nukes? You're trying to have it both ways. I don't like them. Oh, but people who are concerned about this, they're fear-mongering. They're hysterical.
Oh, yeah. Wait, Reece, why would you be worried about nukes? Like,
yeah,
what's
basically
spooky about nukes?
how to tell people that you live in the United States and don't live in Israel in one sentence.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about a nuclear Iran. Oh, well, then you must not live in Israel, you fucking dumb cunt. Unbelievable.
No, because that's her way of saying, like, well, I don't think Iran's going to nuke my house, so why does anybody care?
So stupid.
No, she really is a brainlet.
Or a nuclear.
Yeah, StreamYard doesn't like her. So.
France.
I agree. A nuclear France. Look at that. What are these faces, Kim?
Bro, she's channeling her inner Kyle. Hold on, we're going back.
Pakistan or a nuclear India or a nuclear France.
Yeah, like France? They have nukes. Like she's trying to remember what countries have nukes. That's funny.
Too many countries have nukes.
Ooh, spooky.
I know, right?
And I don't know very many Americans who do. What I do know is that many average Americans aren't feeling threatened by anyone or anything going on in the Middle East. It's
okay, but what about the people in Israel that we need to stand in solidarity with? What about the U.S. bases in the region?
If you're an American not concerned, you are widely and severely underestimating the influence of Iran and its proxies throughout the world. And if they, with a sufficient nuclear arsenal and a way of distributing them, that would become a problem for America. Absolutely. And not only in the region. It's not, oh my God, it's not out of the question. Just because people are over there, they can actually attack us over here. You know how I know that? Because they've already done it. That's already been a thing. Now imagine that with a nuclear weapon. Oh, but don't be concerned about that. The average American's not concerned. Well, then the average American is wrong. By the way, I don't even necessarily trust that to be true. They just aren't thinking about it. They have other shit going on in their lives, other distractions. And that's not become a reality yet.
But this is something that Tom Clancy talked about. I mean, the movie The Sum of All Fears is literally that happens to Baltimore, for example. So you can say, well, who cares? What does this stuff over there affect me? Oh, except it winded up in your port and detonated. Uh-oh. Like, at that point, it's a little too late to be concerned when there's a shockwave traveling towards your building faster than the speed of sound. So...
it's over.
It's over. It's over. Like, I don't think she gets it. I really don't think
that's a very astute observation.
I mean, I don't think she gets why nukes are scary. I think to her, she must be like, oh, it's all military stuff. Why are people so concerned? I don't think she understands why a nuclear threat from terrorism is as scary as it actually is. I don't think she's ever thought about it. I did a debate with a guy who mostly tweets foreign policy stuff and everything, this guy Classical Ollie, who we despise each other. It was very apparent he had never even done any serious research on nuclear warfare, yet he came to debate me about it and why I was wrong. A lot of these people, even people that talk about this stuff, don't really know what they're talking about, don't really have a good grasp on this sort of thing. You know, and it falls into two camps of people. There's the camps of people like Kim Iverson, where they don't really understand why nukes are something to be scared of. She admitted it right there. She's not worried about it. And then there's also the camp of people where they think the second a nuke goes off, that's the end of the world. Everything's over. You're just dead instantly. That's also not true. So, and that's why I appreciate the work of Alex Wellerstein, because he made the application, the website Nuke Map online, so that people could get familiar with how big, but also how small nukes actually are. That if a nuke went off, even in your city, you probably would still survive it depending on the yield. But it is still something to be concerned about. But that they're far more powerful than a lot of conventional weapons. So consider this, a terrorist with a nuclear bomb would probably be in the range of about 10 kilotons. So we're talking about a Hiroshima-sized bomb. If that went off in New York, the vast majority of people in New York would survive. But that would change the world still. That would change the world way more than 9/11 did. And a lot of people would die. Don't get me wrong. Hundreds of thousands of people would die. But people have this idea in their head that like, oh, well, if a nuke goes off, I'll be dead anyway. That's not really true. Most people that would die in that example would die from burns, fallout, exposure to prompt radiation. Only about 30 to 50% of people would actually die in the explosion itself. So, but the aftermath of that would change the world forever. And you can be damn sure there'd be wars. That's another thing. Aren't you anti-war, Kim? Well, if you don't want a massive world war, wouldn't you want to stop the nuclear threat before it goes off? Because once it goes off, there's going to be wars starting, just like 9/11, except a lot more serious. So
that's the great irony, is that we're actually anti-war. We believe in building a world in which that's not even a real possibility outside of a few insurgent groups, through a few decisive wars right now, and then you're done.
Yeah, I like this. Did her parents not tell her what death is? That's such a good point. Like she'd be the person that, like, you know, everybody's setting up the device for one of those nuclear tests, and she's like, I'm gonna stick around for a while. It's kind of cool here. And everybody's like, are you stupid? And she'd be like, I'm not worried about being nuked. Yeah, she's like, well, I'm not worried about it. I don't know why you guys are so worried about it. It's like, I want to see it up close when it goes off. And people are like, you'll be dead. And she's like, what's that?
You know, okay, have fun.
Mm-hmm. But may they leave a refrigerator there so she can come back and have videos to make for us. But like, not a refrigerator in a house miles away from it, like a refrigerator in the shot cap. See how that works. That would be the next Indiana Jones video. He's in the tower as it goes off. And he survives. It's like it's literally touching the device, the fridge, but he makes it out.
Man is invincible.
Yeah.
8,000 miles away, and the vast majority of the attacks against us, against U.S.
By the way, Iran's missiles right now can reach about 1,800 miles roughly, but do we think they're not going to develop longer range missiles? It's obvious that if we fast forward 30 years, they'll probably have missiles that can reach the United States. They work with North Korea. North Korea has those. Why wouldn't they share information? They're allies. They help each other out. So
they're internet friends.
Yeah, they're internet friends. Except North Korea, well, no, North Korea does have an intranet. They have Friend, and I'm sure Iran is one of their friends on Friend.
And they have Pyongyang racers, man.
They have Pyongyang racer, and
they also have trains and trucks.
That's right, and hotels. So, okay, there's a great story. It's an old story. It's from 1998, but I was just setting it to Reece because I wanted to show him the article today that I was talking about last night where they stole the trains because Communist China sent North Korea some food aid, and they sent it aboard a train that had a bunch of cars on it, train cars, and the Chinese conductors, engineers, that kind of stuff, they arrive at the destination, Pyongyang, and they're like, okay, well, here's the food aid, and the government tells them, okay, thank you for the food and thank you for the trains. And they're like, wait, what do you mean? And they're like, have fun walking back. So they had to walk back to China. So North Korea kept the trains. They kept the trains. They melted down the cars for scrap metal. And I believe they kept the locomotives operating. But this was years before that. They had a history of doing this sort of thing. The founder of the Hyundai group, he defected from North Korea. And he said that he stole a cow when he was there, so he wanted to make amends for it. So he sent 1,001 cows to North Korea to try to say, like, hey, sorry, I defected. I'm not going back, but like, here's a consolation or whatever. He sends them 1,001 cows, and the North Korean government asked that they send them on Hyundai trucks. So they sent the trucks over there. They kept the cows, and then they also kept the trucks. So I guess those guys had to walk back to the border as well. I mean, they have a long record of doing this. They also stole a hotel from France. They contracted out a French architectural firm to design and construct the Yangakdo Hotel for a price of about $200 million on that island in the middle of the Taedong River. And they built it on an island so that when foreigners go there, they all stay on an island so they can't wander around the city, so they can keep an eye on them. So they built this $200 million hotel in the 70s. And after it's done, they're like, okay, well, great. So you'll send us the payment now, right? And North Korea was like, no, have fun flying back to France without your money. So they stole the hotel. They never got their money. So North Korea's got a long track record of doing this. So it's like, if you're ever going to do business with North Korea, don't do it. But if you're dumb enough to do it, at least make sure that they pay you up front before you do anything. So... So bad. They're like Trump, because Trump always does that. Like, he'll stiff contractors. Like, all the guys that renovated his airplane, he owed some of them $80,000 and they never got their money. He just refused to pay them. So he became president.
We take trucks now.
People. He's supposed to be like the man of the blue collar people, and he's stiffing contractors left and right. I mean, oh my God.
Clearly didn't stiff enough contractors to not win in the first place.
Amazing.
Troops and interests happen in their countries because they want us to leave their countries. Why aren't we leaving their countries? Well, because they keep attacking us in their countries. It's circular logic.
Oh, in their countries. No.
In their countries? Wow.
Their countries. We're talking about like ISIS.
No, but it's their country. They call themselves a state. They're sovereign, bro.
That's astounding. Yeah, so we've heard this talking point before too, and it's 8,000 miles away, and they're only attacking us because we're there. Yeah, we're there. We're there to prevent this regime from. Well, it's already risen to power, obviously, but from accruing more power, combating its influence in other nations like Syria, like Iraq, being allied with nations like Saudi Arabia and Israel form a block against them, because amazingly enough, I would actually prefer that the fight happen over there and not over here. And there would be a fight over here if they were allowed to do whatever they please, build up. Plus, I'm not only concerned about the fate of my own nation, I'm concerned about the stability and fate of this entire region of the world that apparently we're just content to say, oh, okay, good luck. Absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Oh, but she doesn't want there to be a nuclear Iran. There's going to be a nuclear Iran because of people like you. Directly. You were directly responsible. Oh, but you don't want it. Oh. We'll see how much that matters in the end. I didn't like it. Ooh. I didn't want there to be a genocide. I didn't want there to be a Holocaust.
Yeah. Amazing. Let's continue. We're about halfway through.
Let's flip and go.
To never have an end game. And if Iran already has a nuke, which by the way, many people suspect they do.
Yeah, including me. But that doesn't mean you don't take them out. That doesn't mean you don't take them out.
She's about to say something real stupid. I can already tell.
No, she's about to say something really stupid. Like, oh, if you have one low-yield primitive device, you can't go to war now because they have a nuke. It's mutually assured destruction, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You can't make this up. Nobody wins a nuclear war, bro. Nobody wins
America.
Nobody wins a nuclear war, bro. It would be mutual assured destruction. They use the nuke, you use your weapons. Nobody wins.
Making enemies with a nuclear power is definitely not in the best security interests of our nation.
Oh, see, so she's doing the meme. She's doing the meme like, okay, before they had nukes. So before they had nukes, no, you can't invade them. I'm anti-war. After they have nukes, well, no, we can't invade them. They have nukes now.
Man, making enemies out of a nuclear power, that's such a bad idea. Yeah, they're not a nuclear power yet. It's the key word.
They made enemies of us. So
yes, they made enemies of the entire world. Oh, but apparently we're supposed to. Oh, but they're trying to get nukes. Couldn't you say that about anyone trying to get nukes? Why would you want to make an enemy? They're a nuclear power. Guess what? We have enemies who are nuclear powers. It didn't stop us. We weren't suddenly like, well, we can't be enemies anymore. No, they just became more dangerous enemies. That's amazing. Your enemy, who you are nationally and ideologically opposed to, becomes more powerful. And she says, well, yeah, you can't be enemies anymore. Okay. Oh, well, full capitulation then. Okay. I say that's the answer.
Amazing.
As we saw during the Cold War. Now, we need to get a deal done with Iran and get out of the Middle East. It's time.
Yeah, as we saw during the Cold War. So you bring up an example that is horrendous for the case that she's trying to make. Yeah, the Cold War was really terrible. Wasn't it terrible the way that they let the Soviet Union build up such a vast nuclear arsenal when they could have just taken them the fuck out at the beginning? Yeah, that was real terrible. I agree. How about we take a lesson from that? We endured decades of fears of mutually assured destruction with an opposition superpower. How about we take some lessons from that? Yeah, you don't want another Cold War. We're not talking about a Cold War here, though. We're talking about an actual war. Or a worm, sorry. A worm. We are not advocating for a Cold War with Iran. We are advocating for a regime change war right now.
There's already a Cold War with them. That's basically a quasi war.
And see what that brings you. What does that bring you? All it brings you is more power and expansion for them in the meantime. It's basically just a little like, oh, ceasefire. And it's like you see them across the enemy line just building up and building up, waiting for the timer to run out. Like, wait a minute, they're going to use all that when the timer runs out, right? Oh, should we be taking this seriously? No, because we have people like Kim fucking Iverson saying, "Oh, it's not a big deal," on mainstream television. Yeah, it's not a big deal. Don't worry. Yeah, I'm not worried about a nuclear Iran, but I don't want there to be a nuclear Iran. fucking stupid.
Stupid.
Afghanistan, but Syria and Iraq too. Americans think every day, not of a nuclear Iran, but of our rising costs of basic goods and food.
Oh, she did the meme. She did the meme.
The potholes.
My potholes, man.
Guess what? The concern of the average American is not necessarily going to reflect the only concern of the State Department. Because amazingly enough, there are people with different roles in society. If your role in society is filling fucking potholes, well, then that's your job. You're probably not worried about Iran. If you're the fucking president, you're probably worried about Iran because that's his fucking job.
No, you don't get it. It's the president's job to literally go out there into Kansas and start filling in potholes. Like, that is his job, personally. Why isn't he doing it right now? He's too lazy, man. He needs to do everything himself, man.
What kind of point is this? Even if it's true, the average American isn't concerned about this. Except,
wait, what's the point in having a president? Wait, what's the point in having a leader at that point if they're just supposed to do what everybody else does? Like, what's the point in having a leader?
Because he gets on TV and says nice things.
But that's not actually his job. Like, let's be real. The president's job isn't to give good speeches and make people feel nice. It's to protect the country. That's it.
Really? Because, for the entirety of my lifetime, basically, it hasn't felt like that at all.
Homelessness crisis.
I'm confused. I don't understand.
So that's
what
another
you're
thing.
saying.
That's another thing. It's like Spooky Nukies on one arm, Kim Iverson on another arm. It's like being confused. So.
Loan debt crisis.
She brought up the student loans. So here's the thing. If you're in Iran and you're born in Iran, you have no choice, nothing over that, and there's no way for you to better your life because you're under an oppressive regime that will execute you if you even try. But in America, you can decide that you're going to take on debt to go and get a degree that probably there are already way too much supply for in the first place, and then you have to pay that back. So they're not equivalent situations. You have personal ownership over whether you go into debt or not. People in Iran don't have personal ownership over whether or not they're born in a dictatorship. It's not close. Also, even if you only cared about the American people, even if you didn't care about people in Iran, you might want to stop Iran before they get a ton of nukes because they're eventually going to get the missiles to deliver them to you. So that's what all these nuclear powers do.
And they're going to proliferate that kind of material everywhere.
Not just the Middle East. Assuming they don't just use it within the first few years once they got enough to just destroy Israel. So, she would say, well, then I guess we're fine then. They didn't attack us. They just attacked Israel.
I find it utterly amazing that in a video that is totally downplaying the threat to the world and global stability and our allies that a nuclear Iran would pose, that we're talking about student loans. Are you fucking kidding me? That's right up there with potholes. That's potholes 2.0. My student loan. Kim, do you remember the topic of the video? Was it student loan debts or was it, it was a nuclear Iran, which you totally just brushed under the rug and said, don't worry about it, bro. Source, trust me.
Don't worry about it, man.
Yeah, amazingly enough, when I'm engaged in a discussion, a national security discussion about a nuclear Iran, I don't want to hear about student loan. I don't. Because it makes you sound like a goofball.
Yeah, no, it's like Epic Dude says, it's like Tom and Jerry when Jerry makes the weapon right in front of him and beats the shit out of Tom right there. That's right. Like they're building the nuke right in front of you.
We're Tom, and we think that we're so much bigger than them. We'll be fine. We couldn't possibly lose. We couldn't possibly be outsmarted. We're being outsmarted right now. What are you talking about?
Soaring housing prices.
Oh.
Beep boop up a doop.
Beep boop. AOL Kyle up noises. Okay. I wonder, are Kim and Kyle friends, by the way? Like, if they talked, because they would probably get along.
I'm not aware that they have, but yeah, no, they would be chums. Internet friends for life.
Yeah, want to be YouTube friends.
What a missed opportunity if they haven't, but something tells me they had to have. I mean, come on.
The Middle East. It's time, not just Afghanistan, but Syria and Iraq too. Americans think every day, not of a nuclear Iran, but of our rising costs of basic goods and food, a homelessness crisis, a student loan debt crisis, soaring housing prices, and a rapidly decreasing middle class. The last thing we need is to constantly worry about spending billions of dollars on a new war in the Middle East with Iran. We need the hawkish Democrats and Republicans in Washington to drop their ammo.
Wait, who? Okay, besides, serious question, right? Besides Dan Crenshaw, and who out there is like seriously hawkish? Because you could say John Bolton. John Bolton doesn't actually have he's not a politician. Who's hawkish on the Democratic side right now? Who's hawkish?
By the way, none of these hawks, as far as I know, are advocating for a war with Iran. They're not. No,
but Liz Cheney and Dan Crenshaw have alluded to it. So
yeah, but very, very subtly. But like to act like the overwhelming consensus on Capitol Hill is we're this aggression against Iran. No.
They talked about
not.
forever wars and pulled out and cheered. It was just Liz Cheney and Dan that didn't clap, basically. So.
They were like, "Please clap," and they said, "No, not today."
No. It's like that meme of like, "No, I don't think I will." So
that's awesome. Yeah, they need the hawks, man. They really need to drop their ammo. Yeah, because there's whataboutery. What about these other things?
But people like her keep on giving us ammo. I mean, this whole show exists because of people like you, Kim. So
yeah. So basically, here's the biggest pill. Don't focus on your national security because you have X, Y, and Z to deal with. Except you won't be able to deal with those things if your national security fails. Ooh. Not going to be homelessness is going to be seen as like a privilege if national security fails. But let's not worry about that.
Nuke goes off in the port of the city that you live in, and afterwards on the news you hear that the president's going to war with the country that's to blame for it, and you're like, my fucking student loans, bro.
She's like, complaining
like the mushroom cloud is still in the air, and you're just like, but my loans, they better not make a war out of this.
She's complaining about the rising prices of basic commodities. I wonder if the price of oil would rise if we were unable to securely transfer oil from Saudi Arabia because they were engaged in a nuclear war with Iran.
Maybe. I wonder, housing prices, all this stuff. Like, I don't think she gets it. The danger with Iran isn't just that they have nukes. The danger is we know either they use it themselves or they pass it to their proxies. Now, their likely targets are probably Saudi Arabia and Israel, but it's not out of the question that you do the sum of all fears thing where they smuggle one or two into ports in America. I've seen interviews of people that work in the port authorities that have said that they only actually manage to inspect about 10% of the crates that come in or the cargo containers that come in. So there's a very high likelihood that they would be able to get one of those off. So think about it. If one of those went off in the port of Tacoma, for example, you'd have like 10, 20, or 30,000 people killed just in the first few minutes. Not to mention everybody from the radiation exposure over the next couple months. So understand, if that happened, the United States would probably be in like 2 or 3 wars at that point. There'd probably be a war in Iran. There'd probably be a war on Iranian assets in Yemen, and there'd probably be a direct war in Lebanon and Syria at that point. So, but she would say, no, but we need to wait for it to happen because we're against war. We don't want to do wars. There's no such thing as avoiding war right now. We're in a divided world between islands of freedom and continents of slavery. Peace isn't an option yet. These people want to make peace never an option. They want to have the world permanently divided between dictatorships and democracies. We want a democratic world, so where you can actually have real peace that lasts forever. So
it sounds like imperialism.
Imperialism. Anyway, I'll be back in a minute. So
you all good, man. Look at the chat for a second. We got a epic dude. There should be a dating app for isolationists. Oh, can you imagine? There'd be never-ending whinging about the neocons and the hawkish Democrats, yeah, and the fraud squad. Oh, epic dude said maybe we can get them on our side if we remind them of the potholes resulting from incoming nukes. Yeah, man, if you're against potholes now, I mean, oh, just you wait. Yeah, nukes are a problem, Kim. They might create more potholes. Yeah, that's a good one. No, I'm stealing that. Look, I'm against potholes too. I'm not some advocate of potholes over here. Contrary to popular belief, we should stand united. We should have solidarity against the potholes. And a big part of that is opposing despotic regimes that create potholes on the daily. In Syria, they turn hospitals into potholes. They're just like, hey, you know how that used to be a hospital? Oh, now it's a pothole. Not like there's going to be anyone driving through anytime soon. But a pothole is a pothole, whether or not someone drives over it or not. That is the philosophy lesson of the day. I sincerely hope we are close to the end of this video, but I can't tell. I can't see that. Because otherwise, it is going to be a torturous next couple minutes, I can already tell. We need an anti-pothole movement. Oh, it's right here, man. Ghoul Gang Rising. We stand against potholes. Hey, what's up?
let's flip and go.
My fellow anti-pothole comrade.
I'm in my flipping zone. I'm flying like a
England is my city.
England is my city.
Allow foreign countries to handle their own business and focus on building back better
Handle
America
their
first.
own business.
Building back better America first. Okay, Nick Fuentes.
And she was trying to appropriate Biden rhetoric, which is weird because she was just decrying them for not capitulating enough to Iran.
Oh man.
Very, very bizarre. She's trying to twist it into being this like, oh yeah, this like socialist progressive thing. It's not going to go over well with most people. Let's just let these foreign governments focus on their own business. Oh yeah, what is their business exactly? Hanging the gays. Oh yeah, that's your business. I mean, it's happening within your lines on a map. So and it's 8,000 miles away. So there's nothing we can do about it. Yeah, there you go. Oh, and you're building up a nuclear arsenal. Oh, that's really I can't judge that either because we have one of those. There you go. It's so easy, isn't it? It's so easy to talk about world issues when you actually don't give a fuck. And you're just like, oh yeah, that's happening. That's cool.
It's
but
cool.
let me talk about these other things. Let me distract you with X, Y, and Z.
It's
with
cool.
My homelessness.
It's cool and good.
That was terrible. Please tell me.
By the way, the video's not over. There's about maybe 30% of it's left. I don't know, 35% of it left. Okay. I don't know how this is going to go. Are they going to continue the cringe?
Now, Rachel, it doesn't look like we are going to have a nuclear deal with Iran. I just don't see them compromising. I don't see us compromising. I don't see any incentive for them to get into it. So the big question then is, what are we going to do? Are we going to stay there forever?
Yeah, no. And this is the question I had for Joe Biden, as he was running on the campaign trail, because his platform issue on Iran was...
You don't have to stay there forever. This is a false dichotomy. This is a false dichotomy. What? So the options are, you get in another bogus deal with them, or you stay there forever. Or how about you do a regime change war, set up a democratic government, and then you can leave and go home. Uh-oh. But that would be hard. Oh, you'd have to commit to something. It's not just an overnight solution. Oh, God. Who could possibly handle that? Who could focus on that?
That would cost money. That would cost effort.
Oh, those are just some dirty words right now.
Get us back into the GCPOA, and I think he said it was like long.
Wait, GCPOA? It's JCPOA.
Wait a minute.
We're going back. Like these goofs, they can't even get their acronyms right. Let's go back.
That's what the G stands for. Goofball.
The goofball. Yes, goofball joint. The goofball comprehensive plan of action. Let's go.
Was I'm going to get us back into the GCPOA, and
come on. Like they should just hire us at this point. At least we're gonna. Now they won't agree with us, but at least we get things accurate.
Dude, imagine if we were the new hosts of Rising. We're like Ghoul Gang Rising to the Hill Rising, and we're like, this place needs a desperate revamp. This place has been cringe for a long time. We're going to shake this up.
Executives. We pitch it to the executives. It's like, we've been watching your show. We've been reacting to your show for a while, and we think you guys have been following. But we have an alternative proposal for you today. You drop the isolationist hackery and quackery, and you bring on the ghouls, and we'll rise. And we come on there, and we're just like, "Hi, I'm Kevin," and you're like, "Hello, I am Reece," and we're like, "We are the neocon ghouls. We are here to deliver the news." And everybody's like, "Wait, what? They hired the ghouls? Oh no!" Like Twitter would explode because everybody would be like, "That's the nuke pill guy. They're the nuke pill bro."
I think he said it was like longer and stronger. And I was like, why would Iran agree to that, right? Why would they agree, to this at this current moment? And so I think your question is well taken. What is plan B here?
What a way to frame it.
Is up for grabs.
How about why would we...
Preach it, sister. We need to get out of...
Why would we agree to a deal that would favor them? Unless we had people in office who weren't taking it seriously. Like, oh man, why... you're proposing something that's so harsh. Why would Iran agree to that? I would be immensely concerned if they agreed to anything. That's a bad sign. That's a red flag. If Iran's all gung-ho about it and begging to be a part of it, that's not good news. That should be sus. Even if you're an isolationist, you should be like, "Oh, that was easy. I wonder why." And they're bitching about the Biden administration being too obstinate on Iran.
That's right.
Meanwhile, they've been an utter disaster on that.
Yeah.
But compared to Afghanistan, they look hawkish on Iran. Oh, fuck that.
Insane.
We do not need to set up a situation in which we are laying down the predicate for boots on the ground, for drone strikes, for air strikes.
That's literally already there.
I'm flying like a drone.
I'm in my flipping zone.
For fighting proxy wars like we are.
Yeah, we're, yeah. It's every day, bro, with the Ghoul Gang flow. Yeah.
We're already basically in a war with Iran. We're basically in a proxy war with Iran.
No, it's literally every day. Every day since 1979, there's been some shit with them. Yet we're going to pretend like, oh, no, you just want a war. There's been a war.
Our proxies are Israel and Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
And their proxies are the Houthis and Hamas and Hezbollah. So yeah, that is happening. That is happening right
and
now.
all their militias too. So,
But it's like, oh no, they're saying she's like saying they're trying to lay down a predicate for getting boots on the ground. Yeah, that already exists. That's existed for a very long time. It's almost like if you take this issue seriously, there's a legitimate reason to wanting the regime out of power. There would be an advantage to the rest of the world if that happened. Ugh.
Yemen. All of that, I think Americans, the more they find out about it, the more disgusted they are, and the less justification that the White House can find for it, which pushes these things into
disgusted,
secret.
Disgusted by our by our efforts of standing up against Iranian imperialism. That's what you choose to be disgusted by. Way to have your priorities totally out of whack. If that's you listening, you need to do a serious head check. Because you're on the wrong side, you are failing and flailing, and you're an embarrassment. You are on the side of Islamic theocracy and fascism. You are the problem. We don't like what you're talking about Yemen. So you're upset. You're upset that one of our allies sought to restore democracy to a nation that was plunged into utter chaos by a group of terrorist scumbags. Yeah, that's the real problem, was not letting them just have complete control of the nation. That's so disgusting, right? I mean, what do you even say?
Ridiculous.
What do you say?
I think is even worse. Look, we haven't seen a lot of clarity from the Biden White House. And, I think your point about the hawks in Congress is well taken as well, because in the absence of strong leadership from the White House on this, you will see these guys begin to bang the drums of war.
Who? Like, I want names. Like what? Liz Cheney and Dan Crenshaw? That's it? So lame. Everybody
banging
else
the war drum.
If it hasn't already started, it will soon.
I mean, they have been
that would be good.
To. Many of them.
Yeah, because the current administration is weak on Iran. So somebody else, there should be an opposition to that. Whoever decides to run against Biden, if that's not a part of their platform, that and opposition to his fuckery in Afghanistan, then they're out. They're not real opposition. Those are the key issues. And of course, they're so weak on it. You're going to have people being critical. You're going to have people stepping up and being critical of their total failure on those issues. Oh no, these are just war hawks out. They're just opportunists. They're looking for any opportunity to go to war. Yeah, it's totally outside the realm of possibility that people care about this, have a genuine reason to be concerned with what's unfolding right now, and actually wish to avert crisis. But they're just banging the drums of war. Oh. They're just bloodthirsty, man, for no real reason.
I can't believe there's still almost a quarter of this video left.
That is kind of amazing.
I've been trying to bait us into a war with Iran for a long time, saying, we just have to go and do something about this. And that is my big worry, is that Plan A is clearly just not going to happen. And we have
that's the real thing
come
to
to
be worried
terms
about.
with that. I think it's time to kind of come to terms with that. And then to say, okay, what is actually next? Because what they're basically proposing is the only alternative is war. And I just don't see an appetite for it amongst the American people. We're sitting there wondering, like I mentioned, look, a nuclear Pakistan isn't something that I think any American lies awake at night thinking about. Now, obviously, that's something that India thinks about and Pakistan thinks about India. And I understand that Israel is going to be thinking about Iran and Iran's going to be thinking about Israel. Both of them, if they're armed nuclear nations.
Okay, she's missing that Iran could actually attack the United States, though, because the U.S. not only has a presence in the Middle East that could get nuked, Iran hates America specifically in a way that Pakistan doesn't. So they call America the Great Satan.
Americans should be concerned about a nuclear Pakistan, too.
Yeah, I'm not saying no. I'm not saying no to that. I'm just saying Iran being a nuclear power is a way bigger threat to America than Pakistan. So,
like citing that, the average person isn't concerned about this. Yeah, I imagine that the average person isn't concerned with what lawmakers are concerned with, what executives are concerned with. Their concerns are on a bit of a different scale, shall we say. That's amazing. Some people, and that's fine. It's totally fine for you to be, Joe Schmo living your average life, not concerning yourself with these things, not involving yourself in the debate, going about your life. But just understand there are going to be people who are concerned about threats that may seem invisible to you. And that is for your benefit. You are not hindered by that. You are not cheated out of anything because of that. You're actually kept safe because of that. Because that's their job. Because believe it or not, it's not all out of some 5D chess game. The people who run the show, the people who govern the nation, actually have a vested interest in keeping the nation safe. If only even for their own personal safety, they would want the United States kept safe and prosperous.
Absolutely.
But the average person isn't concerned with it. Well, yeah, we're not talking about the average person though. That's something she brought up. It's entirely irrelevant. It doesn't change. Oh, well, Iran, yeah, it seems like they're belligerent. It seems like they're becoming a major threat, a major player on the world stage in many ways. Oh, but the average person doesn't care. Oh, well, then I guess it's fine. That's how easy it is. The average person doesn't care. By the way, she's just pulling that out of her ass. Oh, but so then we shouldn't care. Well, if that's true, I don't want to be like the average person. I actually want to be keyed in. I actually want to know what's going on. I don't want to brush this under the rug. I don't want to act like this is just the new normal that we're going to accept. This is the new status quo. Because fuck that shit. That's what we just allow to happen with virtually no pushback. That's the world you want to live in? Absolutely unacceptable.
Amazing.
But that's their problem. I mean, quite frankly, I'm sorry.
That's their problem.
I don't know why
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's their problem.
I hate her. She's such a loser. She's such a selfish, self-absorbed, absolutely irritating and grating cretin. Unbelievable.
That's their problem. Huh? Yeah, that's what they always say. The first they came for the Israelis, and I did nothing.
Oh yeah, World War II was just Poland's problem too, right? I guess. So. Kim Iverson, man. Fuck Kim Iverson, dude. So.
It's the worst kind of rhetoric where, ironically, I've said this in the past too. This is almost a version of American supremacy. They'll often accuse the neocons of being American supremacists, but this to me stands out as a more clear example where they treat America like it's Mount Olympus. It's invincible. It's untouchable. Oh yeah, we're 8,000 miles away, bro. That's very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Because
8,000 miles away. In other words, about 30 minutes flight time. Cool.
Not well.
That's about how long it would take a missile. That's about how long it would take a missile when it's launched from Iranian territory to reach U.S. cities. So 30 minutes. Hey, we're 30 minutes away, man. We're invincible. That doesn't sound as good. 8,000 miles, that sounds far. 30 minutes flight time doesn't sound as far, does it? So we're not in the 1500s anymore, Kim. Wakey.
I mean, you're speaking to a brick wall. She's not concerned. A nuclear Iran does not concern her.
What's next? Nuke goes off in Los Angeles and she says, well, I'm in New York, so I'm good.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other side of the country. Man, that's like 3,000 miles away.
3,000 miles away, man. What do you mean get inside? What do you mean get underground? What do you mean?
Oh, but it happened within my lines on a map. Oh, uh-oh. That's not going to go over well with some of my more right-wing viewers. Better be careful with that. Although, to be fair, a lot of them wouldn't care if Los Angeles got nuked.
No. They would say that was all the lefties. That's where
it was all the libs.
It was all the libs. They'd say
the only good lib is a dead lib.
Yeah, they'd say it was based that Iran nuked Los Angeles. They'd be like, well, now we don't have to deal with those libs in Hollywood anymore.
Oh, Jesus.
If they nuke New York, they'd be like, great. Now we don't have to deal with those lib city folks anymore. It's like, dude, it's so stupid.
In trying to help foreign nations. I mean, who was helping? Look, we had the same sort of issue when it came to the USSR, right? We were sitting there like, oh no, and we're in a bit of a Cold War with them. And that's something that we had to work on and figure out and solve on our own.
I love this. If a killer was in her house, she'd say he's in the kitchen and she's in the living room. So it's all good. He's like, he's in another room, bro.
And so, of course, we have allies. We want to.
No, you know what would actually be worse, because she's the one giving advice here. It's like if she was the police call operator and you called the police and said that there was a killer that just broke into your house and you're worried you don't know what to do. You're up in the bedroom and you can hear him rummaging around downstairs and like your kids are in the bed and you call the police and the police operator is Kim and says, hello, I'm Kim Iverson. And you're like, oh, this is going to be a shit show. But then you're like, can you please send help? And Kim's just like, where is the killer right now? And it's like, and the woman's just like, he's downstairs. It sounds like he's in the living room. And she's like, where are you? I'm in the bedroom upstairs. And she's like, oh, okay, you're good then. He's in a different room, and hangs up. Not our problem. Not your problem. Not your problem. Worry about it when he's in the same room.
Certainly not her problem.
And it's like, but then she calls again, and it's Kim again, and she asks like, hello, so you just hung up on me. I'm wondering, should I like shoot him? I've got a gun right here. And she's like, well, did he attack you yet? And it's like, well, it sounds like he's got a gun and he just broke into my house. And it's like, well, did he shoot bullets at you yet? And it's just like, well, no. And it's like, then you'd be violating his non-aggression principle if you were to shoot him. So, like, same with, like, because I've talked to libertarians that unironically have said that America didn't have a right to retaliate for Pearl Harbor. So they didn't have a right to.
Well, yeah, because you didn't do business with them.
Because it was basically America's fault. So in this case, it's like, well, maybe it's your fault. Maybe you had money in your house, or
yeah, you had a nice house. It looked real breakable, you know, real.
Or maybe he saw you. Yeah, or maybe he saw you jogging the other day and figured he wanted to rape you. So it's not you don't have a right to retaliate. That would be neoconservatism.
Look,
and then
man,
she hangs up again. She hangs up again. She's like the police operator, call operator, and she's like, you don't want to be seen like a neocon, do you? You don't want to shoot him.
That would
and
be
it's like, and then he literally breaks into the bedroom and starts shooting off bullets. And she's like, he just shot at me, and he's like, did he miss or did he hit? She's like, well, he missed. It's like, you don't have a right to retaliate because he hasn't violated your non-aggression principle. That's like Keith Knight if he's on the phone. You send him some PDFs. Email him some PDFs of Murray Rothbard, and he'll go away.
Oh.
I can't stand these anti-war people, man. They're all just a fucking giant meme. Every single anti-war person is just a meme. It's just a meme. They're a circus clown. It's not even like a good circus. Like you watch Cirque du Soleil, those guys are talented, right? No, these are like the Tucker shit we watched earlier.
Yeah, we saw a clown earlier.
It's like if you watched a circus, except all the clowns were like 300 pounds and couldn't do any like acrobatics and shit. But it's slow, and it's like a tuba doing it. It's like and it's just like, and you're just like fat. That's all you say. It's just fat.
Fat.
Period. Yeah.
Do what we can for our allies. If our allies go under attack, we absolutely should be there for them. But
she doesn't believe that. She doesn't believe that.
She just said it was their own problem.
She just said it was if Israel got nuked, she would say, "Why do we have to get involved? It wasn't us."
Yeah, they're an apartheid. Why? Why should we?
No, but like even if Israel was not engaged in a war with Hamas and all that stuff and everything, like let's say that Israel was just had nothing to do with Gaza and Palestine, she'd say, why do we have to help them? Let's say it was Luxembourg. Let's say Iran nuked Luxembourg. Luxembourg's not accused of doing apartheid. She'd still say, Oh, sure, they're an ally, but why do we have to help them? It's over there.
Yeah, then we'd be
Over
dragged
there.
into another endless war.
Endless war. I hate
Yeah,
Kim
maybe
Iverson.
maybe we shouldn't
Kim
wait.
Iverson. I hate Kim Iverson, man. I
That is
absolutely hate.
that is a completely deserved sentiment.
I hate Kim Iverson. I hate watching this crap. So,
well, you picked to be a part of the wrong podcast, my friend.
no, I know. Yeah.
And
come on, StreamYard. StreamYard hates Kim too.
So, of course, we have allies. We want to do what we can for our allies. If our allies go under attack, we absolutely should be there for them. But that's really ultimately where I think the buck needs to stop. So, time to get out. Time to kind of face the music. I think.
So don't preemptively.
Iran is going to rise with or
don't stop your enemies from building up. Even a nuclear arsenal, which she said she was against, but doesn't actually want to do anything about, obviously. When your allies go under attack, that's the precedent that's where the line's drawn. So that's the moment then Kim Iverson becomes a hawk. Supposedly. I'm not going to be holding my breath for that. Believe it or not, there are some of us who we've taken some very valuable lessons from history, even modern history, and we say, how about instead of waiting for an attack, instead of waiting for the dock to be nuked, instead of waiting for even the fridge to be nuked, we actually do something about it. We actually prevent there from being nukes in the first place, because then the dock doesn't get nuked at all. That's crazy talk, though. That sounds like it would take a war.
Sound like a neocon ghoul.
without us. I mean, ultimately, they're making friends with China, and what are we going to do? We can't halt this forever, but the worst thing we can do is make enemies.
Oh my god! No, she's such a goofball. She's a dum-dum. She's a dum-dum.
You can't halt this forever. Hey, there's a little bit of agreement there. The current strategy they're doing, which is basically, we're not going to get in a deal, but we're not actually going to prevent you from getting a working nuclear arsenal. That's a recipe for failure right there. That's the product of liberal internationalism. We're not in favor of that. They're wrong. And that's going to blow up in their face big time. But you know what, man? It's a hell of a lot better than what she's saying, which is basically, it would be like it would be cheerleading them on while they do it. Like, this will be awesome. We don't want to be enemies anymore. I'm sorry about all those things people said in the past. No, we love your country. Because the worst thing you can do is make enemies. It's very interesting. Maybe you should tell that to the other nations of the world, because they seem to have made enemies out of us time and time again. They seem to be particularly perturbed by us. Well, it's just because you're doing expansion and imperialism. Yeah, totally no reason to do that at all. This is the ultimate pill, and we even at times will witness this in our own personal lives. If you actually do something, if you actually take a stand for something you believe in, you're going to make plenty of enemies. And people will say, well, that's bad. Don't you want everyone to be your friend? Don't you want everyone to be on your side? No, not at all.
Let's be
because I'm not on board with everyone. It'd be real easy to be everyone's friend and to be a total kiss up and just be like, I'm in agreement with what you're doing. I'm not going to be confrontational one bit. Being confrontational and taking a stand for what you believe in will make you plenty of enemies. I'm fully aware of that. But that is what needs to happen. That is the right thing to do. Sometimes the right thing to do is, and oftentimes, is not going to be the popular thing to do.
Absolutely. This video's almost done. There's about 20 seconds left. Let's try to get through it.
Yeah. Well, and frankly, in my mind, China poses the biggest sort of geostrategic and economic threat. That's where our focus needs to be.
What about it? Okay.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, let's see their big brain plan for China. Oh, let's do diplomacy.
Yeah, no, it's basically going to be nothing. It's just going to be saying, "Oh, they're the biggest geopolitical threat, so therefore don't worry about Iran." Wait a minute, Kim was just saying that Iran was in talks with China.
But they don't want to
thing with Afghanistan.
They don't want to do anything about China, though. They don't actually want to do anything about China. So, because we also want to do stuff about China. We also talk about China. So.
Oh, no, wait, what? I thought that we were only concerned about Iran. This whole stream's been about Iran, right?
It's not like I've ever talked about North Korea or Belarus or anything. So, okay.
How could you be against China? I heard that you were a communist.
Oh, that's right. Somebody said I was a communist because I was talking about Christopher Hitchens. So, okay.
Oh man, bro, this is the same tier as the people who are like, well, we need to get out of Afghanistan so we can fight China. It's like, well, yeah, thanks for giving more land to China.
To China, yeah. That is the same as trying to focus on the Soviets by withdrawing from West Germany and giving them West Germany. Okay.
Strategic and economic threat. That's where our focus needs to be. I think your point about the allies is exactly right. Look, we're not the only country in the world. We can all get creative about dealing with a nuclear Iran. It doesn't just have to be us, and it doesn't have to be our people on the ground. But really well said.
We can get creative.
These people, I can't stand these people. I'm fucking done. I'm done with this. I'm totally done. That video's over.
I understand.
Okay, that was enough. Kim Iverson. We got to do a quick video to wrap up Ghoul Gang Rising.
Oh man, that means no gremlin. Sorry, people.
Oh, it was a long one. Okay.
We could. It was like 8 minutes.
Oh no, that's like an hour and a half. I gotta be up early for work. We can't.
I feel you. We will save that. So hey, look, episode 30. Special as it was, we decided to get, this was our reward, people, for the milestone. Yeah. We gave ourselves a break from the Kremlin Gremlin, but rest assured, we'll get him next week, and we'll definitely get him on the episode when we have Stephen Michael Davis, because there's no way he's going to go unpunished for appearing on our show.
We got a video. We got a short video. It's about 2 minutes. We should be able to get through it fairly quickly. I'm going to have to issue an alert to preface it, though. So. So Reece already knows who it is.
Yep.
This week, while millions of Americans are about to get evicted, Democrats managed to do two things: go on vacation and give Israel billions of dollars.
It's a more hyper version of Kremlin Cop. You're 25, Richard.
This is like Hawes if he were successful.
Yes. He's like a less angry version of Hawes.
And who helped them, of course? The Squad. After Israel bombed...
Fraud Squad. Uh-oh.
Gaza to bits in May. You remember Ilhan Omar's
pictures of bombs going on?
Oh, we're gonna leave out the context. Yeah, remember when Israel bombed Gaza? I do. I also remember what preceded that, which was Gaza bombing Israel.
4,000 times. It was over 4,000 rockets fired at Israeli civilians.
You're over 4,000, Richard.
Over 4,000.
Money to Israel. Then what does she do this week? She votes to keep giving Israel money. $3.3 billion every year in military aid from the United States. This bill barely got through with 217 votes. Every single Republican voted no for different reasons, along with AOC Bush to leave. The only reason this bill got through is because the Squad let it get through. Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Ro Khanna, Bowman, Jayapal cast the final votes it needed to pass. How do these so-called progressives claim to support Palestine and then go and give Israel money? How can Ilhan Omar do that after they called her anti-Semitic and tried to ruin her career?
Well, she is anti-Semitic. Let's just be clear about that. But
it's so funny. We're not even going to get into the reasons why they made their choices. That's remarkable. Now, I'll say that you could call them if you're someone who is vying against Israel, I would understand why you'd be pissed. I can understand why you'd say, "Oh, they're hypocrites." But here's the thing: them being hypocrites is almost always a good thing for me. So I'm not going to be complaining anytime soon. No, that's good. That's good. We should be giving military aid to Israel. Yeah, I wonder why. So crazy. Why would you give military aid to Israel, a country that's under perpetual attack and is an allied nation and is the eyes and ears in one of the most tumultuous regions on the planet? So crazy, right? I mean, don't we have problems here? What about the potholes?
Amazing, my potholes. Yeah, let's try to get through this. I mean, these Richard ones, even though they're 2 minutes, they tend to go a long time to analyze because he says a lot of dumb crap. But let's see.
This shows you exactly what frauds they are. They always play
fraud squad. Fraud squad. He's going for the
Jimmy royalties.
Yeah,
at this point.
That was Jimmy's meme. He's gonna have to pay him royalties, Richard. That you're stealing Jimmy's intellectual property right now. So
this game, some of them will vote no to make it look like they're opposing the bill and dissenting, but then just enough of them will come through and vote yes for the bill to pass. You remember how they all...
That's a big conspiracy right there. That's so convoluted. Like the whole thing is like, oh my god.
None of them are genuine in their beliefs. There's no conflict at all when it comes to making these decisions. They like get together and they're like, okay, so on these ones, you're gonna vote yes, I'm gonna vote no, and we're gonna make it so people they have a little bit of hope, and then we're gonna take the rug out from under them and say, you got screwed over again, man. Wow. He only deals in conspiracies. Is anyone surprised?
Defund the police. And when the bill was about to sink, some of the squad switched and voted yes to give the Capitol Police $2 billion. And before that, remember the squad could have said,
yeah, that would have looked
hold
terrible. if they voted to defund the Capitol Police, yeah, that would have been a PR disaster. Oof. Yeah, this is amazing to me. This is why people with Richard's ideas they're never going to win in a system that's not authoritarian. Obviously, he is supportive of an authoritarian government in his home country of Syria. He doesn't understand. Because in Syria, when the leader wants something, it happens. But in America, if you're in power, you actually have to make compromises. Dun, dun, dun. Richard no like compromise. In Syria, we no do compromise. We do what leader says. Small Richard brain don't understand democracy.
Democracy too complicated for small Richard brain.
Brain.
Took the $15 minimum wage out? No way we're voting for it. And then they went and did it anyway.
So he's basically the left's Alex Jones right now, except he owes royalties to Jimmy Dore. So
it's almost like a lot of these bills, they don't just include that. Like, yeah, they took out the $15 minimum wage because they couldn't include it in what was going to be an add-on to the annual budget. So you're dealing with a budget, but you're trying to include new legislation. You're just trying to tack it on. Except you can't do that. You can't do that without you basically needed to do away with the filibuster. That was what that was all about. They needed way more votes to do something that extreme, that against what was already established as being possible. And they couldn't make it happen. So what? They're supposed to not vote in favor of the annual budget because they couldn't get their pet issue tacked onto it. Even they're not that dumb. It doesn't make any sense. Like, no, we didn't get our way. That's basically what he's upset that they weren't pouting. Like, no, we didn't get our way. Fuck you. We're gonna vote no.
These guys. By the way, Jimmy and Richard are not politicians, so it's easy for them to do these memes because they never actually.
It was just such a dumb idea from the get-go to like, yeah, guys, let's include the $15 minimum wage because they realized that on its own merits it couldn't win. That they do this all the time. They've tried to do this with Medicare for All. They've tried to do this with the Green New Deal. They always try to tack it on to other things that are popular. And it never works. It absolutely never works. How about if an idea, you're wait a minute, I thought you guys were populist. If an idea is really popular, shouldn't it win? I thought this the overwhelming majority of people believed in your vision.
Yeah.
What happened?
Said, hold on, Nancy Pelosi won't give us a floor vote on Medicare for All. Okay, we're not voting for you as Speaker of the House. And then they did it anyway. This is all an act. This is all theater. Every single one of these bills, the squad had the power to stop them, but didn't. Even.
So no, he owes.
So they shouldn't.
He owes Jimmy Dore royalties. This is all the stuff that Jimmy Dore came up with. So this is his conspiracy theories.
I like the idea too. This was a big deal, apparently, for whatever reason. They shouldn't have voted to confirm Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House. Oh, because she wouldn't back them on Medicare for All. How petty is that? Like, yeah, and he's gonna get on their case. Like all they care about is opportunism. All they care about is furthering their careers. Yeah, it's almost like, and we can take some lessons from Ohio. It's almost like if you are running as a Democrat, but you spend your whole time fighting with other Democrats, that's not going to go over well with people. You're actually going to get primaried at that point. You're not, or you're not even going to get into power in the first place. Uh-oh.
Even though they go against everything they ran on. The squad made sure that they passed so they don't upset the Democratic Party leadership and feed you bullshit and platitudes. At the end of the day, these are American politicians, and the whole world knows that they're American politicians. They're all the same. They're dishonest and corrupt, and they support the interests of corporations in Israel.
They're all the same. They all support the Jews, dude.
It's
so Liz Cheney, Dan Crenshaw, Rashida Tlaib, and Ilhan Omar are all the same person. They're
basically,
like
they make them in a factory.
Person. Yeah.
Where I come from,
you know what's amazing? You can't even feel bad.
So angry.
you can't even feel bad for people like Ilhan Omar. Obviously, we've spoken about her on multiple occasions, but for her, we know what she believes in. We know what she directly believes in. But she has to make compromises every now and then, and then she gets thrown under the bus for not being purist enough. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see. This is why they're doomed to fail. You'll never win. The only way you win with this kind of mindset is in an authoritarian system where you basically won already. He's going to talk about where he came from. Oh, we know where you came from, Richard.
Yeah. Richard, England is my city.
This is inexcusable. In Syria, Israel occupies our water, our oil, and bombs us weekly. So when you're sending them money...
He's not in Syria. England is his city.
He always talks about it, though. Like, yeah, where I come from, man, this would be unacceptable. To vote in favor of Israel.
Isn't he in the city of England? Isn't that where he's in?
Yeah, the city of England. Yeah, that's right.
Attack my country.
Except
You damn
here's
right,
the thing, Richard. Yeah, you're pissed. Okay, no one cares.
You're representing. Pissed? He's like Hawes. He's like a calmer version of Hawes. He's always angry, but he doesn't have the visceral energy that Hawes has. So he's kind of like this middle ground lane.
No, he stays seated. You know, if he was really Hawes here, he'd be standing at this point.
He'd be putting stuff in the blender.
Amazingly enough, I'm not too concerned. We're not even gonna dignify that by saying, "Oh, Syria. Oh, they're attacking Syria." No, Israel is attacking the army of Assad, Assad's forces, the capability of Assad to be a threat to them. I'm not gonna dignify Bashar al-Assad and say, "Oh yeah, he's really representative of Syria." He represents the collective consciousness of Syria, as a certain Mills Row would say. That's amazing. This is unacceptable where I come from. Well, it's not unacceptable here. America's not an ally of Syria. I don't know what to tell you, bro. We're an ally of Israel. We don't like Bashar al-Assad. We think he's kind of a douchebag.
Yeah. Bashar the Butcher.
Pissed off. When you're sending Israel money to occupy Syria, Lebanon, and Palestine and kill our people, you're damn right I'm pissed off. Just look at how these...
I am chimping out. That is
kill
what we
our
are.
people.
We are that. We are that. I am chimping out. That is what we are. We are that.
Bro.
Now, this guy is such a meme cow.
So-called progressives vote. Whose agenda is being passed and served here? Is it...
It's Jews.
Israel's agenda?
It's so obvious that's what's happening here.
No.
when he's talking about my people.
This is a triple parentheses meme right now. He's like Groiper 1488. That's what we're going on.
Whose interests are being served? Well, that's right, Israel's.
Agenda, or is it yours? You already know the answer.
There we go.
Okay, we're done. I gotta go to bed. Unbelievable. You were right. There were some absolutely massive doozies tonight. Wow.
We were merciful because we avoided some of the worst of it, to be quite honest with you.
That's right. So thank you to everybody for tuning in. Do you have any closing remarks, Spooky Nukies?
Sure. Thank you to everyone who's been watching over the past 30 episodes. This was a banger, as I predicted. I would put this up as one of our best episodes. And I think it only gets better from here. Absolutely. Make sure to tune in. Next week, we'll have Prometheus on. And on episode 35, on 9/11, we will have Stephen Michael Davis. So we have more guests planned for the future. Obviously, we're gearing up toward a big episode 50. We'll let you know more about what that looks like as we draw closer to it. Of course, if you have any recommendations for segments, for guests, for videos, you can send that to either of us on Twitter and just tag us, or leave it as a comment down below. We do appreciate the support. This is a fantastic program to be part of every week. I'm very proud of what we've accomplished over here. I think we've had a hell of a time doing it. There's been a lot of laughs. There's been a lot of pain, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. So thank you, not only to the guests, but thank you to Kevin, who hosts this show every week, because I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it if it weren't for Kevin. And that was the big motivation to do the show in the first place. Was I was obviously a fan of Kevin. I came on his streams all the time, and I said, if there's someone I want to do a podcast with, it's Kevin Castley. So there we go.
Based. Yeah, no, it's awesome. Yeah, like this wouldn't be what it is without Spooky Nukies. Everybody go and subscribe to Spooky Nukies on YouTube. And you can request to follow him on Twitter, but very few get approved. Bill Crystal gets approved. Most people don't. So you got to be elite. So
yeah, change your name to a meme from the show, and I'll know you're in the clear. I know you're one of the good ones.
Yeah, like concerned hawk.
Concerned hawk. Bruh.
Well, there we go. Yep. So that was amazing. A lot of those were shorter videos, and it was still a 3.5 hour episode. That's how cringy they were. We had Tucker Carlson's clownery. We had the United Nations getting CERNed. We had Kim Iverson being an absolute brainlet for over an hour. Yeah. Ghoul Gang Rising, episode 30. Awesome. Let's go. Let's get to 35. You're 35, ghouls. Let's make that happen.
Ghouls, you're 35.
Stephen Michael Davis.
How fitting that on such a memey episode on 9/11 we'll have the meme lord himself.
No, Stephen Michael Davis, like he is the force that's basically destroyed the unity of the entire progressive movement, from Young Turks, Richard Medhurst, the Gray Zone, obviously Jimmy Dore and a Kasparian,
We didn't dunk on him tonight.
Bosch, Voosh, Dylan Burns, all these people have been caught up in this to various degrees and had to pick a side. Obviously, Kyle Kalinske, and it all goes back to the bombshell that Stephen Michael Davis, dropped on Twitter. And I got to say, it was a privilege to interview him. He's absolutely based, and I might be interviewed over on his channel at some point. We were talking about. We'll see what happens. I'm also probably, though it's still tentative, going to be interviewed by Politically Provoked on Monday. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be a pre-recorded interview, though, so it won't be live. So, but it will be airing at some point. And that's going to be awesome because you know what that means? After that interview's done, I'm going in their library of debate candidates, debate contenders, and I'll be over there for debates and panels as well. It's a hippy dippy show, hopefully again in the future. So, yeah.
There we go. Seems like all the current updates, and absolutely make sure to tune in next week.
Yeah.
We'll have Prometheus on, and we will take your submissions into consideration as always.
Oh yeah, and a big thanks again to Bill Crystal for following me. That was pretty cool. And also, thanks to Hunter Avalon too. That was kind of crazy. He's got like 500,000 subs, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna follow this guy." That's kind of cool. So it's been a pretty crazy week and a half or so as far as Twitter and everything goes. Bill Crystal and Hunter Avalon. So it'll only a matter of time until John Bolton. Hopefully, that'd be pretty base. Imagine John Bolton and Dan Crenshaw. That'd be pretty base. But yeah. Anyway.
One day.
Yeah. One day. So no, but Bill Crystal's awesome. So I mean, yeah. I wasn't sure if he was going to follow me in particular because he's a lot more professional and a lot more like he's a hawk, but he's a lot more calm in his optics and rhetoric and everything. So he saw my account and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to follow that guy." That's pretty based. It's like, oh, he's hashtag nuke build. That's pretty based.
Oh no, he saw that for sure.
He saw that on your account too.
That's true. I wonder if he knew, or he was like, I wonder what that's in reference to.
Well, maybe he thought it was nuclear energy, but it's both, obviously. Like, by the way,
there's two of them.
There's two of them. You literally can't, like, anybody who says they want to do anything about the climate or whatever, and they're not behind nuclear energy, they can immediately be dismissed right off the bat. They're not serious. So, anyway, we're going to wrap this up right now. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. You want to support what I do? Check me out over on Ko-Fi, PayPal, and Patreon. The links are in the description below. I appreciate all of your support, and I will see you in the next video. Take care, everybody, and stay based.
See you next week.